Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Space travelers, how y'all doing tonight? My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. And we have a great show of psychic intuition and remote viewing tonight. Lala Bright is here. Science Bob has chromed up his dome to be here as well. And Dirty Filth will show his sexy hands off with another great cartoon coming on in. Let's say hello to everyone in our chat room tonight. Race fan in the gold medal position. We have Roy Boy coming in with the silver. Goth White and the bronze medal tonight. Hi, Michael Morris, Kevin, and Magneticus. How y'all doing? Thank you for joining us. Brown Dwarf, good to see you. Mark Longoria, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. And let's see who else we got here. Northern California Cubs fan, good to have you back. Lovely Lisa Compton is here. Dirty Filth, he'll be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio. To the left of the studio, please bring kielbasa for Dirty Filth to eat if you want an autograph. Now, Grantavius, thank you for coming on in. Tony Montana, welcome to the show. Wes H., lovely Linda Thompson, and Brown Dwarf, how you all doing? Sugar Britches, good to have you back. Thank you for coming on in. And Linda, thank you so much for kicking off the super chat tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. And really appreciate it. Oh, look who's back. Look who's back. It's Thin Lizzie Borden. Yay. She is our, I just love her. I just love her. And her husband's beard. Just love it. Oh, that just makes me feel good. I'm all warm and fuzzy inside now. All right. And Xander Dutchman. Xander Dutchman, welcome to SOR Chat. Black Dragon, good to have you here. And thank you for your service in the United States Marine Corps. We love our veterans around here. And who else we got? Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Luscious Jules, good to see you. And who else is here? Noble Patrick is here. Noble Patrick is signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio. To the right of the studio. John Hinoyosa, welcome back, my friend. Starman, welcome to SOR Chat. As we continue on with roll call here, Alien Critter, Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived. All right, let's move on here. Cole Ufology, welcome to SOR Chat. Appreciate it. Awesome Ann Palmer, the gorgeous Cosmic Fleur. Grantavius, thank you for that wonderful super chat. Once again, it's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you. Oh, God, I have no idea how I'm going to get through the Dave 101 tonight. Courtney Marchesani, welcome to SOR Chat. Good to have you here. And let's see, who else is here? Peppa H. The lovely Michelle Labigan, welcome. And we are running out of time. Marty Burback, how are you, my man? Good to see you. Start the radio side. And who else is here? Stunning Pam Smith. Good to see you. And let's see here. Who else is here? The lovely Jenny. Jazzy Small, looking good tonight. And who else is here? Terry Hall. Yeah, you nice hairy bastard, you. We love you. Thank you for coming on in. Murray F., it's been a while. Thanks for joining us. Science Bob, thank you for that wonderful super chat. I really do appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much for your love of this show. And who else we got? Because we are running out of time. The Gansfield Podcast. How are you, man? Asteroid. Thank you for joining us. Dennis Banky, the gorgeous Larry Schulte. Nice to have you both here. YJ Overlander and the Crypto Guru. It's Guru time. It's always guru time around here. Let's move on. D. Cohen, my man. How are you? The lovely and gorgeous Kara McIver. I see you. And thank you for joining us. Asteroid, thank you for that wonderful super chat. Way too generous, man. Thank you for your love of SOR. All right, we are 15 seconds away. If I don't get to your name here, I will get to it. Bobbert, Nicholas Shaughnessy. Good to have you here. My brother, Eugene. How are you, my friend? And Penman, the gorgeous Kira, and for you, horns up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock Out, Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. We're going to get in tune with our psychic abilities tonight. Lala Bright is here for the first time. She is joined by Science Bob. And then in hour number 3, we are going to head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller is here. Super Duke brings on the Cryptid Report. We may extend it depending on my voice. As you can hear, my voice isn't too good. I'm going to try to do the Dave 101 tonight, and Shirky Poo has the news. Okay, let's get right to tonight's guest, shall we? And this is going to be a good one. Lala Bright has been able to know and see things others cannot since early childhood, and she found out they were real the hard way. When she told people about what she saw, they were everything from scared, horrified, and many were angry. Lala's father was a light worker and a powerful Reiki practitioner. He taught her Reiki at a young age, and he talked to her about traveling in the Astral, as she has been able to do this easily since she was young. As she grew older, Lala did not hide her abilities. She continued disturbing people around her since she shouldn't share openly, but she did. Recently, Lala lost both her parents and her long-term boyfriend. She felt the need to use her talents once again and possibly interact with her deceased family and help others interact with their family and friends on the other side as well. She began doing random readings for people on social media and began to draw interest, and this is what caught the interest of Science Bob as well. And we're glad to have Lala Bright and Science Bob here on Spaced Out Radio. Lala, thank you for coming to join us tonight. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Science Bob, your head looks as chrome as ever.
I shaved it just for you, Dave.
All right. I'm going to get you guys to move your microphone a little bit closer between you guys because, you know, this has become a lifelong passion and a lifelong gifts for you, Lala, as we start out here. You know, go back to childhood, if you wouldn't mind, for us, and set things up. What do you recall seeing as a child that was different from everybody else?
The first thing I remember, I was 6 years old, and my neighbor that I called Grandma passed away. And my parents went to the gravesite to look for her. They didn't know where she was buried. And I heard her in my ear say, "I'm over here, Laura." And she walked me to her grave, and I put my hand on it. I told my parents, and it kind of scared them a little bit. But ever since then, that's just been the norm, you know.
So you have literally seen dead people your entire lives. Do you see them as figures like you and me standing here or walking around a mall or a park or something like that, or even in our own homes? Or is this something that is very instinctual for you?
They look like us, but see through. So I can see their features on their face. I can see them smile. I can see them move, what they're wearing. It's just not as solid as us, but they're like us. Yeah.
Very cool. What's that like?
Sometimes it freaks me out still, honestly. I rather hear them and not see them, but usually they know that it makes me nervous, so they're more gentle about it if it's very important that they come through that way. But it takes some getting used to, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so when you were there and you were having these sightings of deceased people, is it just people or is it animals? Like, what else do you see?
It's animals, aliens, other beings. I really don't know what they are. They're usually the ones I don't know what they are usually are caped with no face. Um, it's it's everything. I can see everything that is there. It's just I don't always know exactly what it is.
So as you try and figure out in your own mind what these creatures are or what these entities are is probably a better word for it. How do you go about deciphering yourself? Because the other side, we don't really know what's over there. We don't know how much is going to help us, and we don't know how much is going to harm us, or at least try to. So how do you decipher between the two?
It's a feeling I get. The ones that don't have good intentions, I automatically feel fear or threatened automatically. The ones that want to get through to give a message are persistent but kind. Sometimes they're a little bossy, like his grandmother was kind of bossy, but she was kind. So I can just, it's like if a real person came up to you, you can just tell if they have good intentions or not. And that's how it is for me when I do the readings.
Okay, but for a while there in your childhood, you were actually told to shut down your gifts, like stop talking about them, stop dealing with them. Why did that happen? Why did your parents at the time feel you needed to do that?
My mom was Catholic and it scared her. And she didn't feel comfortable with it. She kind of believed it, but she didn't think it would be positive for my life for me to do that. My dad was very open with it, but they would argue about it all the time. So it was very torn about my feelings were very torn about what I should do. So I kind of just shoved it away for a while, actually.
I think you should tell the story about the ghost that saved you.
Oh, well, my mom had a hard time believing, but I used to have really bad asthma attacks as a kid. So sometimes I would sleep in her bed, and I was having an asthma attack in my sleep. And my mom woke up because she heard wooden footsteps going down the hallway. And when she looked, there was a woman with an old dress and a bonnet, but no face. And she put her hands over my body, and I was still sleeping and not breathing well. And she put her hands over my body, and I started to breathe. I stopped having an asthma attack because they were so bad I would end up in the hospital. It was bad. And I believe her because she was the type that she wouldn't tell me something like that if it wasn't true, and it just blew her mind. So I knew that that was one of my protectors from a young age.
The idea that your parents shut down your gifts, how long did you shut them down for? How long did you push them to the side?
Off and on most of my life until I lost my family. Um, I decided after I lost them that I didn't want people to feel how I felt, the heartache. So I decided to just suck it up and do what I was supposed to be doing. And I wanted to make my dad proud. So I've been kind of working through everything I was told not to do. I've been working through it. So,
When you say working through it, you
mhm.
know, when you push something aside for a long time, it's hard to get back because there's new habits that you have to try and break, and things that have been instilled over the years that you
Mhm.
shouldn't do. So, what was it that you had to try and recreate?
Um, my self doubt, that's the major thing. There was always a part of me that said what my mom would say, that is, it's not real, I'm imagining it. But then I remember all the times that I heard certain spirits and I was validated by someone else being there or hearing it. So it's just, I have to remember that this is real, this is life. It's just a little hidden. So I'm proud of myself. So that's it, self doubt, pretty much.
Okay, so it's been a few months since you reopened yourself up to the world on a psychic intuitive level. What made you gain the strength in order to do this? I understand with your parents dying, your long term boyfriend passing away, that was inspirational to you. But how did you get from saying, okay, I got to restart this, I need to help people, to where you are today?
Um, I went on Facebook into groups of people that had lost people they loved, and I would listen to certain spirits that popped out the most. And I would go to the people, and I mean, I would say, I'm sorry, I hope I don't sound a little crazy, but they have a message for you. And so I would just practice that way, and it just built up. And then I met Bob on Facebook, and I did it for him, for his mother. And he's been helping me get out of my shell more with everything. But I mainly did it online. So,
Like, for you as a person, people who don't know you, you're a very shy individual. Like,
mhm,
this is very difficult for you to reach out to complete strangers, to send them
right.
messages of love and light from the other side.
Mhm. It is, but when the spirits come through, they're so passionate and I feel their love for the people they miss. And so that gives me the energy to get through the shyness and say, this is what they have to say. Um, it it balances out everything. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. No, I totally appreciate that and can understand that. And, it's something that, we all try and pursue as we move forward with our own communication, with our spirit guides, and wanting to get in touch. For you living this life of intuitiveness that you have had over the last, uh, over your lifetime, but
Mhm.
mainly between today and say the last 6, 8, 10 months, you know, how have you changed as a person? How have you matured or learned to breathe again in your own world?
Um, I'm more at peace. It makes me happy for other people to be happy and hear from someone they miss and love. And it's exciting because I talk with other beings, just more than just spirits. It's other beings, and I don't know. It's like an adventure, kind of. I really like it. I'm always learning something new while I do it, and I really like that a lot.
What do you like to learn? Like, what is, I realize on a psychic intuitive level, you're always learning. There's always something to learn about, but for you, what's this adventure consist of?
Well, recently I like connecting to different aliens for people. Um, they're they feel different. They have a different energy. I see more of the world that I've never seen before and other worlds. And it's fun explaining it while I'm reading it because usually the people I'm reading for know more than I do. So it's validating also what I'm seeing. It's neat.
Interesting. Very interesting. And so getting into the alien side of things, how are you communicating with everything?
I do it the same way. I start with a photo of someone's face and a clear view of their eyes. I connect through their eyes and it kind of just snaps into, first it'll go through them and their personal space, and then it'll go to people that have passed, and then it'll go to other beings, other aliens, and it's just more information as I look into their eyes.
Oh, the old eyes. So it is true then that the eyes really tell a story.
Very, yes, yeah.
So the photograph, when you get a photograph of a person, what are you looking for inside that photograph?
Like if it's clear or,
Oh, what are
Well,
you communicating with?
oh,
yeah.
I, I don't know. It's almost just like a door opening for me. And each eye has something different. So one eye has the hidden part of a person, and one eye is what they show outside or what they're doing in their life with other people. It's really interesting. I can't explain it. I don't know how I do what I do, but it's just something that comes, it's always been natural for me. So it's like a doorway, each eye.
When you look into that photograph of each eye, what do you feel? Do you feel the pain? Do you feel who's connected to them? Do you feel what they like, what they don't like, what their astral plane is all about? Like, take me through that.
I feel physical pains a lot. Um, I feel their emotions, happy or sad, or like I'll get angry and I don't know why I'm getting angry. And then I realize this is not me, this is how they're feeling. So I talk to them about that. And then once I speak about it, it smooths out. It goes away so I can read something else. Um, and for people that have passed, I feel how they passed away, which isn't always the best. But it helps for me to describe what's going on so I can validate to the person that this is real, this is what happened.
Let me interject here, Dave. So Lala has these aspects which I think other people might call aspects of being a physical medium. So when she read for me, which we'll tell about whenever you're ready, I have tinnitus. So she read for me, and her ears began to ring with the same kind of tinnitus I have. She got a little upset about that tinnitus. I mean, it's just, I can't imagine what must be like to read someone and feel their pain, their agony, take on the physical infirmities they have. She could feel them. And she heard this tinnitus, and I asked her to whistle the tone, and it was exactly the pitch at which I hear the tinnitus.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And you know, when you have that connection, Lala, you know, I mean, it's very special. It's very fragile. It's very special to have that connection. It, when how do you deal with the fragility of it all? You know, because you may see things that you're maybe not comfortable to say to the person. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, how do you deal with that? How do you edit that for the benefit of the person you're reading?
Okay, so a couple months ago, I read for a man who lost his wife, and they were really big into the BDSM. And so the wife would show me all this stuff. And so I was it baby steps? So I toned it down a whole bunch. And when he said yes, and so I'd build up on it. And it's crazy sometimes. That was a first ever. So, yeah.
Oh my. I guess anything can come out,
Yeah.
and that's the main thing that kind of happens. Do you get shocked anymore? Does anything surprise you with what you see?
No, I've literally seen it all, which can be good because I can deliver the message better to the people. So
I think the thing she expressed to me that's most impressive is seeing all this stuff and realize these are real human beings with real lives. You lose the desire to judge people. You just meet them where they are and find out how to help them. And she does.
Now, Bob, why did you feel as a scientist that it was important to get involved and kind of help Lala not only start a business on this, but to promote the work that she does?
So, as you know, I came to this field through my interaction with Chris Bledsoe. And so when I was with Chris, I had a bunch of experiences. I saw orbs and auras and flashing things popping in and out of our dimension, our plane, if you want to call it that. And Chris and I spent a lot of time. He went over his history in detail. And I left there saying, Chris, I'm going to go home and figure out how it is I can help you, or if I can help you at all. And let's just talk about it as I think about it. And as I went home, Sharon and I were in our home in Gulf Shores, and we woke up one day and I was reading a book in the bed and I was splashed with water. And I thought the roof was leaking. So I just forgot about it, went back to reading my book. The next day it happened again. And I went, we just had this roof repaired. How is it leaking? So I called the person who repaired the roof, and they says, look, this roof is new. There's nothing wrong there. And by the way, it hasn't rained in over a week. So it was really dry and hot. So it wasn't rain that was coming through the roof. The next day, I heard Sharon squealing at the other end of the home, and I was shot right in the face with a squirt of water. And I said, Sharon, come here and take a look. Do you see water? She says, not only do I see water on you, I see it all over the blanket. And she says, down here, come look. And there was water all over the floor where it squirted. So I said, I've heard about this hitchhiker effect. And I called Chris and talked to him, and I committed to helping him. You know that story, but that's not where we are. So this is how I came to take seriously the supernatural, the paranormal, and other things. So Lala reached out and friended me. And so being interested in all this stuff on Facebook, I would look at some of the stuff she said and printed. And she saw in the spring that my mother was dying. And so she sent me the sweetest message and said, I see your mom's dying. I'm sorry about this. And if you want, I'll do a reading. So I put it on the back burner. My mother passed away. We had her funeral, and it really hurt, Dave. My mother was really special to me. And she was a fantastic mother. I won't bore the audience about my mother's history, but because this is Lala's show, but I want to tell what happened. I reached out to Lala. I told her that I was a skeptic and a scientist, but I wanted the reading. I was curious. So
I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Lala Bright, Science Bob on Spaced Out Radio, Psychic Intuition, remote viewing. We're getting into it all tonight on the Mighty SOR. Stay tuned. The second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway right after this.
you okay?
You are doing great.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
You're talking like a pro.
You were talking like a pro.
You are.
I know. I can't believe it. Holy shit. Oh, can I see that?
Yeah, we're off the air.
You're on commercial break.
Yeah.
Doing great.
Can I finish the story when we come
I'm
back?
sorry I spilled the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even tell it.
I know, Greg.
They're gonna mop the floor anyway. Because I made a mess in here, as you can tell.
Hmm.
I made a mess in here, as you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Can the chat room see us?
Oh, the chat room, and all can see us, they can hear us.
Oh.
Everybody can see us and hear us, and
Hey,
even Dirty,
chat room, we're having fun.
and even Dirty Filth down there can share tips on how to keep hair off your hands.
I love our chat room. You've been in it a lot. I can't wait for her to tell the story of how she came to be watching you a long time ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. She tripped and fell on and smashed on our channel. That's how it happened.
Actually, it was kind of woo, Dave. It was kind of woo.
Yeah, it was.
It's a good woo though, because here we are.
Mm-hmm. Look at those hairy arms of filth. By God, man, you never get bit by mosquitoes with that much hair. By the way, I want to give a shout out here. My great uncle, his name was Nikon, good Ukrainian name, passed away 2 days ago. I found out today, and he was an incredible supporter of the woo. Incredible supporter. For years, he loved listening to UFO stories and ghost stories and all of that. And Lala's picking him up right now. I can already tell. But he passed away 2 days ago. And my parents today were like, oh, by the way, Uncle Nikon died. And him and my Aunt Mary, every birthday for the last 30 years, I get a phone call and they sing happy birthday. And it's one of the highlights of my birthday every year. And anyways, he passed away from, he apparently had bleeding in his brain and passed away 2 days ago. But the real cool part about it, like I said, in regards to what we do here, is he was a listener, and he would sit up until our show started so he could watch the show on YouTube or listen to it on the podcast format, because he was always into UFOs and believing there was life out there somewhere. And so God bless you, Uncle Nikon. You were a good dude. And, when you're part owner of a Dairy Queen and you got me all fattened up on ice cream back in the day, I loved it. And God bless you. He was a godly man, and hopefully his transition to the other side is a good one. And he was a good dude. And I'll miss him. I will. I'll miss the happy birthday singing on birthdays. So, but that's okay. It's a good time to celebrate, and just wanted to pass that on. He's got the answers. And he's probably like, really? Hey, he's going to rub it in. I know he's going to rub it in, or he's going to come in and be like, hey, I know what's going on. Yeah, you keep searching. I know what's going on. So probably having a schnapps or something right now with Butch Witkowski. I could see that happening. Totally see that.
I love the reading she did for you where Butch came to visit.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
That
was pretty.
Yeah.
She said she asked me did I know chubby guy, and she described him, and I went, well, that's Butch Witkowski. I went right to it. She said you did too eventually.
Yeah, eventually I caught on. Hey, Gary Rusin, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you here, my man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I ate so many damn banana splits when my uncle and aunt owned a Dairy Queen. Holy cow. Kawhi, how you doing, man? The gorgeous Cryptid Hunter. Yes, Bree, you were totally right. And apparently, according to Psychic Lon Strickler. Butch is in studio quite a bit. He's in studio quite a bit. We got we got 5 seconds here, everyone.
5 seconds.
Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Psychic intuition, remote viewing, how the mind works. Lala Bright is here, hanging on out with us with Science Bob, looking into all of this stuff. She's a lifelong intuitive who has now decided to come out of the woodworks and help people. And right before the break, Bob, you were telling a story about how you got to know Lala because you asked her for a reading about your mother who had recently passed.
Yep, thanks. So she does these readings right now on chat. So I went into the chat with her, and she had a picture of my mother, several pictures, most of them with good pictures of eyes, and she immediately began working her way into interacting with my mother, and she began telling me things that were validating that my mother was there. And after I said yes a few times, she really took off. So I call it getting into the flow. When she gets into the flow, it is really fast. I've never seen anybody could type as fast as she does. So she started rapid firing this stuff at me, and it was absolutely clear about 2 minutes into the reading that she was telling me things that I had forgotten that only my mother and I knew. I mean, it was like unreal. Okay, so I was in shock. I started crying. I was blown away. And then all of a sudden, she switched gears and she says, well, there's a little woman here with curly hair who's come through, and I hear a word. I don't understand what this word is. And she said, the word is Tweety. And Dave, I just lost it. I totally lost it. My grandmother called me Sweetie, and I couldn't say the word, so I called her Tweety. And she says she has a little poodle in her arms, and my grandmother raised poodles. And look, our relationship has just gone on from there because I interacted with through Lala with every deceased relative I could think of, and I was just blown away. Iris says, you realize you could make a living doing this, or some part of a living, and I wonder if you would allow me to try to talk you into starting a business. So we incorporated LalaBrightLLC.com, Lala Bright LLC, and you can now go on LalaBrightLLC.com and request a reading. There's an introductory reading that's one price, and then the regular reading is another price. So we got it going. It's incorporated. We have all the payment stuff set up. For those who are familiar, the store is back-ended by Shopify. It's one of the best store programs you can get. And we're going to add products. She's an artist. There's going to be art on there and other things. So it was just became my passion to make sure she could do this and other people could benefit from it, and give her an easy way to make some money for her family, and to go from there. And it's picking up pace, and here we are breaking out, telling people what's going on.
Well, that's good. And Lala, now that you've decided to make this an income, business for yourself, I mean, how do you find clients? How do you go about trying to build not only a clientele list, but a reputation as someone who is accurate as well?
It's a lot of word of mouth, actually. Someone gets a reading from me, they really like it, they tell their friends come by, and then so on and so on, which is really nice. That's a compliment because I'm really hard on myself because I want to be perfect, you know. But it's mainly that
So
right now.
poor thing. You know me, Dave. I brought all my UFO and alien friends. So for the first time, she became inundated with people who really didn't want to talk to their spirits. They wanted to know about their aliens, and she's just been covered up with people that are talking about aliens. And she's gotten into it now because she's met some interesting people. Without saying anything about the content of the reading, she's read for Exo Academian, and that reading went really, really well. She's read for Linda Thompson, who is in our chat room and has become very good friends with Lala. And Linda will tell you that her readings are really accurate and informative. So I've not met a single person who has ever been read by Lala who does not claim she is the best there's ever been, and I would agree with them.
Pretty high praise from Science Bob, who's supposed to be about the who, what, where, when, why, and not the woo.
So I can tell you, she did not know, and I just accidentally discovered that I could put up pictures of people, but also pictures of objects or things I was interested in, and it would guide her to write the kind of information I would want to find out. So this has been interesting, and as a result, we began experimenting with remote viewing. And right now, we're going through the kind of baby steps of the remote viewing. We're doing blindfolded seeing with Wendy Galan and Rob Freeman. And the first time I stuck a pack of cards in front of her, she got 100 out of 100 first try in under 5 seconds per color. I mean, it's pretty amazing. She's going to be a big time remote viewer.
Can you solve a Rubik's Cube too? Because after 40 years, I still can't solve one of them idiot things. You know, Grant Tavius Max on our weekend show, he can solve a Rubik's Cube in like under 2 minutes, if that. If that drives me nuts. He'll just sit there on the screen doing all this crap with his hands, and I'll be like, okay, and then he goes, and then he'll show it around, and it's
Dave keeps me around because I'm a mathematician and I know group theory and permutations, and I know how to do it on a computer. Solve it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, you're a cheater though. You use the computer to solve the algorithms. All right, well, let's get into astral travel here, because I have astral traveled before. I don't do it often. Mainly when it's necessary. I haven't done it in a long time. But for you, Lala, this is something that has been happening since childhood for you. I mean, how do you astral travel for people who don't know?
I don't think I do it the way other people do. So I have an intent, and it slowly starts to happen. And I travel to different places, but it leads me to where I'm really needing to be. I did that with Bob, and
what an unbelievable experience.
Can you tell him?
I'll be happy to. So when she does astral travel and is kind of doing this channeling or traveling, she's kind of in this really, really deep zone. She may not even have tremendous memory of it, but one I will never forget as long as I live. She began to describe breaking through some kind of barrier around the earth. And she says, oh my goodness, I am bathed in light, and I feel nothing but the purest, most unbelievable, unconditional love I've ever felt. And I says, okay, this is called the universal consciousness. And I says, you've broken outside of our prison and you're feeling this. And so she said, I want to travel around. So she took off and traveled, and she decided to go to the pyramids. So she went to the pyramids, and she barely remembers it, but she went to the pyramids. She saw these chambers underneath the pyramids. She could draw them if you wanted to. and she did something wrong. And all of a sudden, I could hear her being mashed into the bed on which she was sitting. And she says, "Oh, I'm being held down." And something here, she didn't have the word right, but I knew immediately what she was saying. She says, something here called Anunki. I says, "Do you mean Anunnaki?" And she says, "Yes, that's the word, Anunnaki." And she's there mad at me because I've done something I shouldn't have. And then I heard a bunch of creaking and groaning, and her bed was levitated off the ground. And I heard it rattling, and I heard her trying to get up. And then all of a sudden I heard a crash, and she said, "The bed has fallen to the ground." Dave, you hear one of those experiences, you are really going, wow. I mean, she's talked to the Anunnaki and made them mad. I mean, how many people you know can do stuff like that? And she doesn't do it by going to sleep and while maintaining consciousness. She just decides to go and she's gone. It's like no astral traveler I've ever heard of.
Mm. So you're dealing with the Anunnaki on the old astral plane and being able to kind of see and surf around to get there. Do you ever worry, Lala, when you are out astral traveling, that while you're out of your body, that something may try to sneak on in there and take over you?
Yes, yeah. I need to learn how to protect more. I didn't realize how much was out there wanting to do that. It's different. It's definitely different. So I've slowed down on that a little bit until I can learn safer ways of doing it.
And your mutual friend has been very helpful, Dave.
Yes. Yeah. And, for you, as you learn to protect yourself and you mature into this role, what are some of the dangers, Lala, that you have to make sure you're protected from?
Sometimes I've gotten spirits that had bad intentions, that wanted to scare me, that wanted to be attached and just kind of harass. And it was very scary. So because I would do readings and not prepare well, because sometimes I just like to jump into things because that's what I'm just used to doing. So I'm learning. But I'm learning how to protect myself because I didn't realize that it almost feels like they're waiting for me to slip up so they can just hop on in.
Okay, so what does that mean, though? Like that they're waiting. Who is they?
I don't know. I just know from experience that they've been dark energy. They enjoy scaring me, and to get rid of them, I usually have to do some rituals. It's not easy to get rid of them. It's usually, I've noticed that it's happened when I didn't protect myself before a reading, which was stupid. And the person that I was reading for didn't have good intentions either. So I think that was connected, and I wasn't paying attention. I just wanted to help somebody. So I jumped into it.
Dave, I want to thank you and our mutual friend for really teaching her how to ground herself, how to imagine a barrier and then see the light in the barrier around her. I mean, you've helped her, and our mutual friends have helped her. She's learned how to do it.
Well, that's good. That's good. One thing about intuitives is you learn from each other. And you learn what's right, what's wrong, how to do it, and you learn mainly who to trust and who not to trust within the field, because there are a lot of characters in the field that are ego led or eccentric or they want things to go their own way. And for you, Lala, as you have kind of in a shy approach started, putting yourself out there in public, how have you protected yourself from other psychics or other people who have intuition who may not be of the better benefit to you?
Um, I'm still learning. I usually take baby steps getting to know people in the woo world. It seems to work for me the best. Um, but everybody's been pretty nice so far, actually. So
Oh,
I think
excellent.
I think she seems to have a keen sense of what a person's or spirit's intent is, and she pulls back if their intent is evil. I've watched her do this. I've watched her do it on multiple occasions, and she really has this intuitive sense of the intent of the spirit or the person.
Very cool. Very cool. So for you, and you're starting to get out there. There, like even Exo Academian, who's in our chat room, says Lala is legit. And by the way, Exo, we got to get you on this show, man.
Yes, we do.
Wow, we got to get you on this show for sure. And yeah, well, that's just a different UFO topic as it is. But Lala, for you, I mean, where you could kind of see from different levels, whether it's from the astral realm, the remote viewing realm, the intuitive realm. What do you get off a lot of people, when you can kind of see the good, bad, the ugly out of them? Like, how do you deal with that on who you want to work with?
Well, if you detect good, bad, and the other, how do you pick a person to work with?
Well, I guess I can tell right away if they have good intentions because they'll be sweet and gentle to me. So they'll be understanding that I'm super shy, and that's the person I usually get close with. Actually,
I mean, look, Dave, it's not hard to imagine that there's the good, the bad, and the ugly that come around Facebook and Twitter and the other social media things, and she's like a lot of young women. She has to figure out who's good, bad, and the ugly, whether or not their intentions are. And my experience working with her is it doesn't take long for bad people to begin to show their true colors. And she cuts them off. They're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shocks them.
Well, there you go. Just drops an elbow on them. Just like that.
Oh, she's good.
Just like absolutely. And you got to be. We got about 6 minutes to go before we have to go to break here at the top of the hour. Lala Bright, Science Bob are our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Now, I do want to remind our audience tonight, we don't do readings on this show. This is about information. And so if you have questions in hour number 2 for Lala, if you're in one of our chat rooms, it's not about readings. It's about questions on how to be intuitive, how to remote view, how to astral travel. So, Lala, let's talk a little bit more about the astral travel of things here, because for you, where do you like to go on the astral plane? Do you find a comfort zone? Is it a meditation type process? What do you do when you're on the astral?
I do like the calm, meditative. It's peaceful. It's quiet. It's the first time I felt no worry. It was amazing. I'd never felt that before, and that's where I like to go.
Okay, so describe that area for me. What are you seeing when you're on the astral like that?
It's actually dark, which I was surprised because I'm scared of the dark, but it's dark. It looks like there's little lights, I'm assuming stars. It's very bland but peaceful, and it's just comforting. It's like I'm being hugged, kind of. It's nothing colorful or loud or lots of things going on. It's just peace.
But given some of her experiences, when she has an intent, she can just go there. So she will see all the usual stuff people see on astral. What's happening is she's going to a place of comfort because she desires to be there and has intent to be there. But if she has desire and intent to go someplace else, boom, she's there. It's no time at all for her to transition. She just decides to do it, and she's there. I've never heard of anyone like this.
Very true. Very true. And so the idea when you're out on the astral plane, do you have the silver cord attached? Do you like an out of body experience, or are you just off flying on your own?
I have the silver cord. My dad definitely told me to do that when I was young. So yeah, I do that for protection. Yeah.
Right. So when you're out on the astral plane, what do you see or who do you see?
I see all types. It's strange. A lot of times I don't see their faces. I see their bodies, and they can be grays. They can be. It almost looks like they have alligator skin sometimes, or just people. It's like a zoo in space. It's. I know that sounds weird, but that's what it looks like to me.
All right, look, when she first started talking about the alligator skin, I got her to describe it in more detail, and it was pretty clear it was reptilians.
No kidding. What do the reptilians look like?
I never see their face. But they're very like thick, muscle, tall. But usually they have a hooded cape on. They won't show me their face. So probably because it would freak me out. So that's probably a good thing. I don't mind actually.
Oh, come on. Why won't they show you? I mean, you're dealing with Anunnaki when they don't show you.
Really?
I don't think I even knew that, Dave. I mean, we're neophytes.
Well, there's a couple of boys that I know that I call them the boys, who are caped individuals who never show their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's also seen in other types of experiences, the more typical experiences, which is not astral, but where there's an abduction experience, she sees those reptilians.
The alien side compared to dealing with the human side, what do you prefer there, Lala?
The only difference, the spirits have emotions, memories. Aliens, it's very business. There's no emotion. They're just show me what they want to show me and tell me what I need to tell the person. It's I don't mind either one, really. It's just a different type of entity altogether.
So people that get readings from her, it's clear from what she describes that her natural inclination is to want to read their dead to help them deal with the grief of the people that have passed. So people have come to her wanting readings about aliens, and she often would go to the people's past friends and relatives, and they would have to guide her. So she says, so she's become more accustomed to say people that want readings, what do you want from me? And then that works because her natural inclination is to help people with her dead. So if someone wants a reading about something besides a past person, please be explicit.
Yeah, and that's about it. Guys, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. And we have Science Bob. We have Lala Bright. We're talking psychic, intuition, and everything in between tonight. We're going to get into some remote viewing next as we go to the commercial break. What do you see? What do you not see? What doesn't want you to see? It's interesting. I'm your host, Dave Scott. We'll be back with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio next. Stay tuned. All right, we are clear. I'm going to mute you guys.
You're on.
Science Bob, I'm going to mute you guys. And we're going to bring up Dirty Filth here. So Dirty Filth can kind of go over his cartoons that he is drawing. And Dirty Filth, by the way, there are a number of audience members last night very upset that you're not leaving the link to your book on Amazon with all your amazing cartoons. So I said I was going to kick your ass for that, for not promoting yourself.
Yeah, I guess I could go plug that in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. You should.
Yeah,
You should.
with that kind of attitude, I'll do
It's
that.
all yours, Billy.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm in trouble with everybody. Let me just go scroll down here. It's like it's cool. Every time I go look at it, it's like the third thing when you plug it into YouTube. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, this is terrible. Get me off my game here, everybody. Dave. There you go. I don't know if that works. But yeah, you can go to YouTube or Amazon.com or CA or wherever. You can print it wherever. Last night's cartoon, yes. Here, let me get I'll just hold it there for because there you go. Is Julie a hippie? I probably would say so. It's Sasquatch meets the skunk ape. And Sasquatch is like, why are you so grumpy? And the skunk ape is all, oh, I need a bath and I stink. Somewhere in Florida. That's nice, Whiskey. Thanks for coming out. Yes. So, cartoon I'm drawing next is about an alien that showed up in Soviet Union in 1989, and apparently had 3 eyes and it was really weird looking. Had some copper colored boots or bronze boots or brass or whatever, that general color. Yes, thanks, Gary. I appreciate the kind words. But I just like the skunk ape because he's super scrawny. He's got all the like flies around him and the stink lines. The stink lines are make it the best. Whoa, would you look at that? I missed part of his foot. There we go. Now it's attached. Now his foot's fully attached to his body. See, I haven't scanned the stuff from last night, so it won't matter. But yeah, there it is. Grumpy old skunk ape being a grump. Yeah, I try to keep it as clean as possible, Courtney. Okay, gotta go back to this thing and finish drawing this guy here. These are the I don't even know how to say it. I don't know any Russian. Ronez aliens. September 27th, 1989. Craft showed up. Some kids were playing, I believe it was football in a schoolyard somewhere. And then they witnessed this craft come down. If I remember correctly, there were 3 aliens that came out. One had 3 eyes. They were all humanoid. Well, 2 were humanoid. One was a square robot thing. At least from what I've looked at so far. And they had this tube and it blasted one of the kids and he disappeared. And when the spaceship left, the kid reappeared, if I remember correctly. If I had a couple hours to research the whole thing, I would. I'd bring all my notes and junk, but I didn't. So here we go. Draw cartoons. They didn't really get too much of a description besides the boots. And I think most of what because I read a couple different little excerpts from things, and it was all like Mexican newspapers. So I'm trying to like translate this stuff. I don't know any like Spanish or Portuguese or any of that. I went to Costa Rica once. That was terrible. But terrible in the language barrier. But otherwise, it was actually really nice. A little hot for my Canadian blood. But anyways, these aliens, the only real description I recall, and with my scribbled notes at the time, were silver suit, and I believe it was brass, but I got a copper. Copper looks like brass. It's close enough. Artistic decisions. I'm drawing the cartoon. I'm fixing it up. Anyways, they had this tube and they blasted some kid with it and he like disappeared. And then when the spaceship left, they... Oh, sorry, we got like a tropical earthquake coming through here.
How you doing, Phil?
Oh, not bad. I was explaining this drawing. I had to show last night's drawing too. So
Yeah.
make sure they had
Of course you do.
a good gander. Oh, and I plugged my thing in my book in the chat room. I hope it worked.
Good. Good.
But yeah, it's Amazon.com, Cryptid Cartoons, Klaus Meidner.
All right. Well, let's say hello to a few people here as we get ready for the second hour of the show. In Spreaker, hello, gorgeous Bill WD40. Robert Lamoth, how you doing? Good to see you. Bombshell Bomber, the little Johnny Davies is here, all the way from the UK. Pono, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. And who else do we have that's coming on in? The lovely Nikki Nicole, good to have you back. And here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Ganister. Ganister is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bubblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Lala Bright and Science Bob McGuire as we are in for a night of learning about intuition, psychic ability, remote viewing, astral travel, and all the secrets that come along with it. And we're going to get right to it here as we continue on with hour number 2. Lala, Bob, welcome back.
Good to be here, Dave.
All right, Lala, when you are looking, and I know you're working closely with Science Bob right now in regards to the UFO phenomena, what are you guys looking for? Are you looking for patterns? Are you looking for timestamps? How's that going?
Oh, I don't mind. So, Dave, you know my interests. So I've been putting up pictures of people who are working on different things in the field that I know a lot more than they're saying. And she burrows right in. So let's suppose I want to know what Hal Putoff is doing or thinking. I put a picture of Putoff. I'll put up a picture of the Alcubierre warp drive and some other things. And this seems to guide her right to kind of the stuff that I'm interested in. And that's when her alien guides step in and they start telling us stuff and they guide both of us. And the role I play is she says things that are come from whatever these guides are telling her. And my job is to interpret what she's seeing and saying. Sometimes we get it right. Sometimes we get it wrong. But if we do it enough times, we are making progress. So through that and a bunch of synchronicities, we've set up quite a number of relationships where I've had basically no entree to working with these people before. All of a sudden, with her help and me figuring out kind of what I'm being told, I go and talk to people. And I'll give you a perfect example. I was at SCU and I was talking with Gary, who was there from Stanford, and he began talking to me about materials and other things he was listening to. So this is turned into something different than both of us thought it was. It's turned into a partnership where she gets these indications and psi readings, and I provide an interpretation or a kind of get to a place where I know I'm right about what she's talking about, and it seems to really work. It's turned into a partnership that is really interesting. So I won't say what the details are, but we're working with Exo Academian on some stuff he wants to do, and we're working with Gary Nolan. I'm working with Gary Nolan. I have a conversation coming up with him to set up a relationship on things he cares about. And for example, he went public, so I'll say something about that publicly. He's learning how to encode information in the DNA of people, and we got some stuff on that. We believe given some of the stuff Lala showed me, is that we are not right about wanting to do that warp drive by Alcubierre. So she intuited this picture of which is the equivalent of mapping the universe onto the sphere, onto a globe, like a map of a globe. And she described how all those points are connected, like lines going through the globe to connect one point to the other. And she said it's above and below. And suddenly I had this picture, the freely available energy of the universe flowing down into the universe from above, and the interconnecting between the points are inside the globe. So this leads to a kind of different mathematical description of how travel would work between points in space-time. It's really interesting, and I really think we're going to go someplace given what I've learned through her. I would never have gotten there if it hadn't been for her. And she's not a mathematician, so she needs somebody like me to go through the math of making it possible. It's an interesting relationship, Dave.
No, and I can understand that, but how does this relationship help the UFO world? Like, what are we trying to help with the UFO world on that point?
Well, I would say, look, I'd be honest with you. We had just started doing this within the last 30, 40 days, but it's already led to people like Grant Cameron wanting to talk to us. As I said, Darren Exo Academian, Chris Bledsoe has interacted with Lala. And so it's just a bunch of people are just now discovering that we're doing this work together. So people are coming to us and we're trying to interpret their needs and wants and so forth. She gets a reading and an intuitive input from her guides, and I try to figure out what it's about. So we're at the early days, Dave, but I think this is going to go a long way.
Okay, so looking towards the future, Bob, with blending psychic experiencers or psychics, experiencers, and others towards this, I mean, this is could be a potential big step in order to branch into the more of the experiential side and the woo side, which many are starting in the scientific community to believe that that's where the true answers to ufology are.
I completely agree with you. So just this is about Lala, not me, but I want to point out to people that Hal Puthoff, who everybody and their brother in this field knows, got a paper published in the Journal of Cosmology, and it was about ultra-terrestrials, extraterrestrials, and interdimensional beings, and that's a peer-reviewed journal. And I didn't know about it until she intuited that I would be interested in it. She showed me the article, and I didn't even know it was in print. I mean, so if Hal Puthoff is now able to get a paper like that into a peer-reviewed journal of hard-nosed astrophysicists and cosmologists, we are in a different era, Dave, different than we've ever had before. And scientists like me, Gary Nolan, Hal Puthoff, etc., are beginning to speak openly of this kind of stuff, because I think everybody knows that nuts and bolts is not really the answer. It's something else. And this something else requires us to leap beyond the constraints of scientific method as has been done before. And I keep trying to tell people that these rare events, like a UFO popping in and out, or for example, these rare events, they contain a lot of information. But because they're rare, they don't fit in well with the scientific method, which needs lots of repeatable stuff, which may have high probability, but it's not have a lot of predictive power. So we need to do a lot of work in the science community to interact with experiencers because they can guide us.
And Lala, as someone who can help read those experiences that people are having, for you as you move forward in this scientific endeavor with Bob, but on a psychic medium side, do you look at things as, let's see here, as this is, I guess what I'm trying to say is the translation between what the images you are getting on a psychic level, with Bob being able to use his scientific understanding to really form those answers to what you're actually seeing. I know that's confusing. I apologize about that question, but I'm just trying to figure out what you're seeing and on your side of the scientific endeavor.
So they talk to me through pictures, and I'll explain the pictures, which I don't know what they mean, but I tell him what I'm seeing, and he knows what they mean. So they're communicating through art, kind of, in a way, and he knows how to decode it. That's how it works.
I come close. I mean, I'm going to need to work with other people in order to do the complete decoding. Another thing she's gotten into doing is, there's a lot of different social media channels that cover all this kind of stuff. And like, she'll go on Reddit and she'll go through one of the channels in Reddit, and something will attract her attention. She doesn't quite understand why this thing grabs her attention, and she bores in and gets everything together she can, and she throws it at me in our communication channel, and I'll go, oh my goodness gracious. She's put together these 3 or 4 different things, and together they tell a story. And we're beginning to really do this. She has an intuition about what is important in those channels, because there's a lot of them. And able to pick out the ones that are important and have me look at them. And that has really been fruitful.
So they guide me to look at certain things, and sometimes it just pops up on my phone, and that's been happening for a while now. That's how I found your channel, honestly. It just popped up on my phone.
After her boyfriend's name was Dave, so all of a sudden Dave Scott pops up on her phone. She found SOR, and it was a great comfort to her, Dave, to come in and listen to a different Dave every night. And Dave, it really helped her.
Well, that's excellent. That is absolutely excellent. I'm glad we could help out in some small way. I'm very curious about this scientific endeavor, Bob, that you are pushing here from an intuitive level, because for everybody else out there, ufology has really been about nuts and bolts. It really hasn't been about the videos anymore. It's been about technology. It's been about what are they doing? How are they getting here? And you and I have talked privately and publicly about how many experiencers out there, Bob, have kind of been pushed to the side as if the stories that created ufology were no longer any good, that it was just anecdotal evidence that really couldn't hold a grain of salt in a court of law. Yet we're learning more and more that more scientists like Gary Nolan and others, and scientists at Rice University, are very interested in people who claim to have this communication. Are we at the precipice of opening that door fully now, where experiencers, especially multiple experiencers, will have their abilities not only tested but studied?
I believe the answer is yes. So watching Lala work and interacting with her while she's doing her work and supporting her, interacting with people who come to her with all sorts of things, it's clear to me that we're on the precipice of beginning to understand the most important thing we don't understand, and that's consciousness. We must understand consciousness because everyone believes strongly in the physics world and the science and engineering world in quantum mechanics. But there's a thing that happens in quantum mechanics that most people don't even realize. If you have a quantum mechanical system, it's indeterminate about where the things are, how fast they're moving, and all of a sudden. And so particles in the quantum universe aren't even real until we observe them. So that is when we bring our awareness to something, it becomes real all of a sudden. This is called the collapse of the wave function in quantum mechanics. And this means that consciousness is absolutely fundamental to everything that exists in the universe. This is kind of a brand new way of thinking. And so Donald Hoffman and others are really working hard on trying to how to derive the quantum mechanical equations from thinking about consciousness. Dave, this is going to be a revolution, and it's going to change everything over the next 10 years. And experiencers and intuitivists like Lala and others, they are going to help us figure out how to walk the path through figuring out what this consciousness stuff is really about.
And Lala, how do you feel working with a scientific community regarding not only your abilities, but the ability to try and figure out, the alien side of everything?
It's different. I like it. I don't really understand everything, but it feels nice that I can contribute in some way with what I do, even though I might not know what I'm talking about. I can just tell them what I'm seeing, and it's a big help to them.
So I've guessed, Dave, and she's come back and she says, no, they say you're wrong. You're thinking about this wrong. And she'll give me something. All of a sudden I go, oh my goodness, she's absolutely right. I've been thinking about this wrong. I need to go down this path. That's happened on more than one occasion. If we can build these kinds of relationships, Dave, we're going to get somewhere.
I want to get some audience questions here. Let's start off over on Twitch with Kyle Vin, the CV. And he is asking, how does one become a psychic? Or is it something one is born with?
I think everyone can do it. I think we're all born with it. I think it comes easier for some people. But we all have it. We're just taught not to use it and not to see it. We're taught that it's wrong and that we don't really experience what we experience. And so it can be embarrassing or depressing, and then nobody wants to go through that. So I think it's part of all of us. I do.
For example, I mean, the blindfolded seeing stuff that Wendy Gallant and Rob Freeman are doing, Lala and I are deep into that now. So we're working our way through Sean McNamara's book on mind sight, and it's basically the easiest educational book I've ever looked at that tells you the step-by-step procedures for doing blindfolded sight. And if you think about it, Dave, this is the right path to remote viewing, because you develop the same senses and abilities that you would do with remote viewing, except you have immediate feedback. If I hold up a card and I see it blindfolded as red or blue, that's immediate feedback that trains my brain and my other senses to operate without seeing. And so that's like remote viewing, but you get immediate feedback. So Simeon Hine, who I'm interviewing on Science Bob coming up, that's his view of things. Start with something like blindfolded viewing, and then move into controlled remote viewing, where you're looking like at random places for input on something you're interested in, blindfolded viewing is the best place to start to learn how to do remote viewing.
All right. So when we put this together, in remote viewing and astral travel, how do we know the information, Bob, that Lala is perceiving is actually accurate? Outside of reading the person, I'm saying from a scientific side of what you are looking into with ufology.
Okay, so if she tells me it leads to a scientific conclusion, then you can write down equations or make a statement, and science those equations statements and makes predictions. So if she tells me something that leads me to an equation, and from that equation I make a prediction, that is how her intuition and her abilities have brought something to me that led someplace, because then we're getting science out of it. We write an equation, we make a prediction, that prediction leads to a test or an experiment that validates that prediction. If we validate a bunch of these predictions, she's led me to the right place. So I think she can lead me to new science that I would never get would not even come close to getting there without her.
All right. Let's go to Eugene. Can you, Lala, communicate with them, being the aliens and ghosts, non-verbally?
Yeah. So it's all through thought. I don't hear words outside with my ears. I hear it in my mind. Or they show me photos, pictures, or I feel things. It's very, how do I put it?
Oh, you see all sorts of symbols.
Yes, symbols. I have to decode everything.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it takes a little bit to understand, but they're very persistent, which is helpful to me. Eventually, we figure out what's going on.
I do a bunch of guessing about what she's saying, and we just go back and forth until she just suddenly knows she's right, and it's pretty neat, Dave. It's pretty neat to watch.
Yeah, and I understand that it's pretty neat. But Lala, when you're getting something, okay, and I'll give you a personal example. Terry Hall and Tim Senor were working up at Blind Frog Ranch just up until yesterday when they drove home. And one of the things that I started getting was a lot of pressure in my brain to tell Terry where to point the cameras and where to look. Now, here I am in British Columbia. They're in northeastern Utah. And I'm saying, hey, Terry, can you go check this out? I think you're going to be surprised what you see up there. Do you feel that pressure and that knowing confidently that this is the focus, the aim that you have to take?
Yes, I do. It's just usually in everyday life, I always question myself, but I know this is what they have to do. This is where you have to look, where you go. This is what they're trying to communicate. They make sure that I know it has to be said. And so I know that's not me, that's them, which is helpful.
She recently told me that in order for me to accomplish something and a goal I had, I was going to have to clear away some stuff, change some things about myself, and go and get in a sensory deprivation chamber. And if I did the development of my remote viewing and thought correctly and went into the sensory deprivation chamber, that I would receive answers I would get no other way. Dave, that is the kind of thing that we need to listen to.
I told you, Bob, the black room works. The black room works. Sensory deprivation brings a whole different ball game and category. I would love to take somebody like you in there. See what you see. Lala Bright, Science Bob, Spaced Out Radio. We have them until the top of the hour. Fun show tonight on the Mighty SOR. We're going to continue it right after this. right, we are clear.
Can you do me a favor, Dave, and turn us off? I've got to remove the blur because it's messing up.
All right, you're out. And let's see what our good friend Dirty Filth is up to here. Dirty Filth.
Oh, a little bit of shiny armor on there.
Oh, hey, you rarely do the shiny armor thing.
Oh, it's not very often. That's acrylic, by the way.
Those are some nasty looking feet. Bet you those feet are filled with cords and stuff and bunions.
I wouldn't doubt it. Apparently it's an alien, so they probably got all types of weird fungus on their planets.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might not even live on planets. Maybe they're all Deep Space Nine, just floating around in a ship all day.
Exactly.
Just gonna finish putting the grass in here.
Oh, you got the police coming by? No, that sounds like fire.
It's
Fire truck.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Actually, they closed the fire station by my house. Is going for repairs currently. So
Oh yeah.
So we don't get a lot of it because it's like 4 blocks away. So most of the time it's like peace and quiet, and all of a sudden fire trucks come bursting through the neighborhood.
I don't blame you. Trying to figure out what that is. Is that a wrestler with a belt on? That looks like a wrestling belt.
He does have a sort of a belt. I figured it would be gold or copper plated of some sort of fancy material, but it's I don't know any. I'm not very good with my Russian here, Dave. Voronezh aliens. There's probably some Russians in chat. They're like, yeah. Good. Thanks for trying, at least. But anyways, it was September 27th, 1989. There were some kids playing football in a park. And apparently they seen a spacecraft landed. This weird looking thing got out, and then there was another like square robot that was floating around, walking around as well. And these are my Reader's Digest notes that I remember while I'm trying to paint.
Well, you are a Reader's Digest kind of guy. You go sit in doctor's offices even without an appointment just so you can read the Reader's Digest. Why pay for it?
But you know where I stop at A&W in the morning first and talk news with all the old guys there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. The Edson special. That's funny if you're from Canada.
I stop at Tim Hortons. I know you don't like Timmy's.
Nope. I also don't like Nanaimo bars, Dave.
Yeah, you're a little bit ill on that. A little bit ill. How do you not like Nanaimo bars? You are a sicko. Absolute sicko over that.
Normal. I got a cotton candy machine.
No, you don't.
I do.
Oh, dude, you got to bring that to the Vegas next year.
I can bring it to. You can put hard candies in there too. Apparently,
dude, that's cotton candy is one of my weaknesses. Cotton candy is totally one of my weaknesses.
Let's put some cotton candy down and you just leave.
Science Bob, you almost ready to come back in? Science Bob and Lala, are you almost ready to come back in? All right, there we go.
We just turned the blur off. It wasn't working right.
Yeah, your blur sucked. Now you got a beautiful SOR logo. Now you got a beautiful SOR logo above your head.
There you go. That works for me.
Actually, if you pick your head up a little bit and then move to the left, your left, other way. Too much. Oh, back. Shine it up so it sticks. We'll put some Nick Pope Velcro on the bottom of our logo so it sticks to your
There you
head.
go. I'll have hair at last.
Uh-huh. All right. Big thank you tonight to Linda, Grant, Bob, Asteroid, Courtney, and NoCal for the super chats. Wonderful way to support what we do on this show. Hi, Cryptid 559er. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. And Vegas stuff, as soon as Ben can get it on the website, we'll get it up there and get it running. And here we go. We got like 5 seconds. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Still upset to learn our artist Filth does not like Nanaimo bars.
Okay.
How do you not like Nanaimo bars? They are like seriously one of the greatest desserts ever created. From Nanaimo on Vancouver Island, home of the bar. Anyways, moving on. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Lala Bright and Science Bob, looking into the psychic intuitive side of everything that we do. It's all inside of us. Had people saying, why isn't Lala's name on the screen? So I had to change it there. You know, I had to change it. I just noticed that too. So let's get to some audience questions here. Let's start with Jonathan Davies over in the UK. So are they images, the pictures that you were seeing, Lala, like Tyler Henry describes? Do you scribble to enhance the connection?
No, usually sometimes I do. And that does help a lot because it preoccupies my regular human mind, I guess, so I can get messages out. But usually I just do without it, but it does help. I do like that a lot. Yeah.
And she is a natural talented artist. She can draw basically anything. So this is a thing that I think I feel she should pursue a lot. And we're going to, as things progress, we're going to get stuff for her to be able to do a lot of drawings and so forth, because I think a lot's going to come from it.
I think so too. All right, let's move on here. Let's go to Delta Tessercat. Can you point me towards someone to help me grow telepathic communication abilities?
I think there's a lot of good groups online that will teach you the right safe ways to do it. It's just being patient. Everybody can do it. You just have to be patient and find the right group of people to help you.
Working with others is the way to do this.
Yeah.
You need feedback. And so you get feedback by working with others. It's hard to do this all by yourself.
It is. The whole telepathy aspect of everything, it very much intrigues me. Do you have telepathy with alien beings or other ghostly beings?
Yes. That's how they communicate 95% of the time. Sometimes I'll hear words yelled out like as if someone were really talking to me, but most of the time it's telepathy.
Like when my grandmother yelled out Tweety,
Right.
she heard it. And so, so spirits often yell out, whereas aliens are almost always telepathic or graphical or symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Explain to people the difference between extraterrestrial energy, Lala, and paranormal or spiritual type energy?
Extraterrestrial, to me, they're very, I guess, cold, I would say. I don't feel any emotion from them. I just get information from them. Spirits, I feel as if they were still in the physical telling me a story. So I feel their excitement, I feel their sadness, I feel their pain. It's very amped up, very much compared.
And one of the things she's regularly told me is she can easily tell the ET, extraterrestrial aliens, what non-human intelligence, they are alive, and she can tell they're alive. And spirits, she can tell they're not alive, they're somewhere else. But the communications is similar between all of them.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's move on to another question here. Nikki Nicole would like to know, Lala, could you or have you ever tried looking into the missing 411 phenomena?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say much because we're pursuing it vigorously. We don't want to mess up this possibility of work with David Paulides.
Very good answer. I'm going to get you to repeat that because my audio kind of tripped there for a second. If you could repeat that answer, that'd be great.
Yeah, we are definitely. So I'm showing her pictures. She's doing readings. And if we get information about a missing person, we're going to pass it on to David Paulides. And we don't want to say a whole lot more than that. So I took a picture of a missing person from a city near where Lala lives. And she zoned right into where this person was held and ultimately killed. And this is going to be a big part of her work going forward, because a lot of people don't know, because they don't like to advertise it. Police departments and others work with psychics.
All right. Before we get to more questions, just want to share some anger with Nicholas Shaughnessy from our After Hours show. Decides to put in the chat room, hey, Dave, I'm eating Taco Bell right now. Yeah, that doesn't work with me, Nicholas, because I hate you right now. I'm not going to lie. I hate you big time because the closest Taco Bell to me is 2 hours away, and Lord knows that I could use some Taco Bell right now. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely terrible. Moving on here, let's go to the Doug Shelby. For Science Bob, too, why do you two think more women than men? Really seems like, and bet it isn't close. More women than men are intuitive, the question would be. But any idea why?
I don't mind answering. Guys are kind of hard-headed, and they wrap themselves up in their daily lives and their work, and they concentrate on it. Whereas women are maternalistic. They develop intuition about the children they bear. I just think all sorts of biological and social reasons aim women towards being intuitive, because they want to be able to figure out what's going on with their children, their families, and so forth, whereas guys got their head buried in their work.
I think that's a solid answer. And it's also embarrassment, Bob.
It is.
It's also embarrassment, where many men don't like to tackle their intuitive side. They don't. It's not manly to do that. It's not, there's an old stigma to that you're going to get bugged. You're going to get razzed by your buddies or whatever it may be. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well. And let's move on here on Spaced Out Radio. We got a bunch of questions and we got 15 minutes to get through. Let's go to Grant here, who is asking, when you hear your name yelled out, but no one else hears it, what is that?
That is either a family member that's passed or a guide. I've noticed that if they yell your name, in my experience, it's been warnings. So my dad yelled my name one time, and my back porch broke with me and a friend on it about 5 minutes later. So that's just my experience. They're trying to reach out to you to help you, you know.
Very cool. Thank you for that. Let's move on to Bombshell Bomber. Lala, how do you protect yourself from the negative entities and energies in your day-to-day life before doing a reading? By the way, we love you and you're doing great.
Thank you. I have certain crystals that are protective. I use, what is it, the Paleo stick? Paleo Santo sticks. Before and after, I say I only allow, well, I get the name of who I'm supposed to read, so I'm specific. I always say nothing negative is allowed to stick around anywhere, and I ask for protection from my family that passed and my guides.
Another thing she does, she told me, I just want to make this good. She in her mind imagine a barrier of mirrors around her, and the white light over her while after she's done this grounding business, where you imagine your energy is flowing through your feet like roots into the soil, and then she imagines this white protective light and a bunch of mirrors around her, and she views these mirrors as reflecting bad energy and bad entities away, and all of that imagining with much intent and much focus protects her.
All right, let's go to another question here. This one from Courtney. Have you received downloads from non-human intelligence?
Okay, so I have. So Courtney knows, and you know, Dave, and Jonathan Davies knows that I recently posted in a private group a long list of downloads that I have received over my life. And I got to tell you, until I started associating with Lala and others like you, I didn't realize what they were downloads. But hindsight is always 20/20. I would have a thing pop into my head, and it would be the answer to some really hard technical problem. And I would not know how to bring all of that to fruition. I just knew what I had gotten was right, and I would work with others to take what I had learned and turn it into something real, like imagining how to do a certain type of spacecraft, for example, and be way ahead of everybody else. And all of a sudden, I would work with people and we would bring that to fruition. That's how Hawkeye 360 came into existence. I had a download. I knew I was right. We patented the technology, we built it, and we turned it into a very successful company. So this download stuff I have experienced. I don't know that Lala has, but she possibly has. I mean, she'll have to tell you.
I'm not really sure if I have, really.
You're going to have to talk up, Lala. You're getting real quiet on me.
I said I'm not sure if I've had any downloads yet.
Okay. Very cool. Let's go to Bree, who's asking, Lala, have you picked up on past lives for yourself?
For myself, a little bit, not really. I'm actually, do you want to say?
Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead. Okay, so we're working with Deb Shakti, and she is going to do the regression. And one of the first things they do in the big first session is they will the Debs will explore all possible past lives with Lala.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about that, actually, because I'm really not sure if I'm seeing everything clearly. So I do want to know. I believe in it. I do.
All right, let's go to Bombshell Bomber. Lala, have you connected with Sasquatch? If yes, was it intentionally for someone or accidental?
I have not with any cryptids yet.
But she's been bugging me to get pictures and other things. And what I want is a bona fide picture of a real cryptid from someone that people believe have actually seen these things and photographed them, and she will dive into reading them. That's a request.
That's a request. Okay, let's make it happen. Let's get some that. Courtney is wondering, do you use dowsing, Lala, like a pendulum?
The rods?
The rods and the pendulum.
I do. My dad taught me when I was really little how to do the pendulum for answers and to practice my own energy, moving things. And he got me the rods
The bouncing
recently.
rods, yeah.
And they're really fun. So I do use them for certain things.
I've had a hypothesis for a long time after having spent time with Chris Bledsoe and others, and now Lala. I believe that these kind of really powerful experiences can change you when you're in their presence. So Lala brought a pendulum, and she put her hand on my hand and then took it away and said, focus on the pendulum and tell it what to do. And I instantaneously could immediately tell it go left, right, up, down, counterclockwise and counterclockwise. It was zero effort after she kind of did whatever she did to me. I don't even know what it was.
Oh, it's communication with the woo, Bob. Communication.
I know, man. What can I say?
All right, let's go to Vaughn. Lala, can you and do you feel aliens amongst us living here on Earth?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. So people have different energy or vibrations to them, and there's just certain people that don't match regular vibrations to what I'm used to. I do believe that they're kind of hidden within the crowds and stuff like that. I do believe that, yeah.
All right, let's continue on here. The Doug Shelby is asking, Lala, does it ever become a burden instead of a gift?
It used to feel like that. Now I love it with all my heart. I really do. It's very helpful to me.
When she was young, she'd have jobs, and she would just couldn't contain herself and read for people. She almost got fired a bunch of times. So it was a burden. Now it's not.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we got one more here from Jonathan Davies. What is Lala and Science Bob looking for Gary Nolan and Exo Academian? Hint, please.
Well, for Gary Nolan, he is interested in me aiding him in some investigations he wants to do. And Darren, Exo Academian, is interested in doing some development of ideas for sustainable living. But outside of that, I don't have all the details because I haven't completed talking to them, and they have not completed using Lala and her abilities. So, and after we get there, it'll be up to them what we and others can say. So we are going to abide by their rules while working with them.
All right, let's go to the UK, where Sweet Tony D is asking, Bob, what would you like to achieve in the future with your partnership with Lala?
Oh, is no doubt what I want. I want to understand how to travel in some kind of craft to another world. Oh yeah, that's okay. And also, given our recent successes with remote viewing, I want to be able to figure out how to do that kind of thing. So working with Rob and Wendy and Simeon Hine, I believe what they say. Everyone can do remote viewing, but you got to work hard and practice.
All right, let's get to Kira. Lala, have you seen the cloud of consciousness or higher realms? What did it look like to you?
It looked like the sky, night sky to me. But the being was very large, but in an outline of stars. So it wasn't an actual being, and it didn't say anything. It just was there, and it was just very peaceful.
And you felt pure love.
Yeah, very, very kind. No negativity at all. It was different from here.
All right, let's go to Bombshell Bomber. Lala, when did this ability switch from being a burden to a gift? And what was the turning point for this?
Good question.
So a little bit different question from before.
Good.
I guess when I lost my family, it all changed. I became more at peace with what I am and what I can do. And it just naturally fell into place for me after everything happened, you know.
I mean, she sustained grievous, tremendous loss, and all of a sudden, she realizes she has the ability to help others who have sustained grievous and painful loss. And it's an uplifting experience for her to connect people with their lost ones. I mean, it changed my life, Dave. I'll never be the same.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, let's continue on here as we got a few more questions for you tonight. Let's go over to Jonathan. Lala, apart from seeing images, what other abilities do you have?
Oh my gosh. I can't, like, what they show me so I can communicate, or what I can do?
What you can do.
How about both?
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
No, just pick something. Describe it.
So I can read people. A lot of people want to know about love lives and their health. I can do the health. I can communicate with people past. A lot of people have went through abductions. I've been helping with that recently. It's I've been trying to learn a little bit of everything to find out what I'm good at, and he's been helping me a lot with that.
We discovered that she's quite the powerful medical intuitive, and she has a friend which is an even better medical intuitive, and the two of them hanging out are a powerful medical intuitive, and she just didn't know that before we started interacting. So far, I do not know of a contact modality that she cannot express, and I haven't yet tested her on an ability which she does not have. So I'm going through this with her, trying to learn as much as I can to feed this endless desire she has to find out what her boundaries are.
And it's a daily lesson.
It is.
What's the next lesson?
Well, we are working hard right now on this remote viewing stuff. I mean, we are all into it. We're in Simeon Hines' chorus. We're working with Wendy Gallant a lot and working through Sean McNamara's book. We're all in on that. And she wants to go to the Monroe Institute. Well, she needs to earn the money and to pay for the Monroe Institute. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you right now, Dave, she is going to be an unbelievable remote viewer. But she needs the training and the certification so other people will believe as well.
We have 1 minute to go here tonight. I want to say thank you, Science Bob, for introducing all of us to Lala Bright and her intuitiveness. Lala, I'm going to ask you, where can people get a hold of you for a reading and learn more about what you're learning as we speak?
We have a website. It's lalabrightllc.com, and you can email me at lalabright 3333
at Gmail.
at gmail.com, and we get back to you very quickly.
And on the website, they can see a business telephone number they can call, and we take voicemail. So email, voicemail. If you're on Facebook, you can Facebook Messenger her. If you have business with her, she will answer her Facebook Messenger. We're going to wind up. She's on Twitter. She hasn't really gotten all the way into Twitter yet, but she will. So we're going to have multiple ways to contact with her. And the Lala Bright, Lala Bright, all on the website is business, not personal.
Excellent. Science Bob, Lala Bright, thank you. Coming up next, we're going to head to the swamp. Our swamp dweller is here. Then it's time for Super Duke at World Bigfoot Radio for the Cryptid Report. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. Excellent job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. You did a great job with the interview, Dave. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Even Dirty Filth is taking those hairy meat hooks that he has and clapping as well. There he is. See? Right there. All right, guys. I will let you go. Science Bob, I'll call you tomorrow.
See you, pal. I'm looking forward to it.
Later, bud.
See ya.
Later, Lala. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. There's Dirtith Filth. He's going to take the reins here momentarily. I'll be right back.
There it is. My interpretation. And I'm fairly certain I spelled it correctly. I'm going to probably Verona's aliens. So yeah. I went through most of the story of it, but I failed to mention that apparently there was a police officer. He had people phone him and say that they seen a UFO in the sky. There we go. It was Lieutenant Sergei A. Matveyev of the Voronezh District Police, and he claimed to have seen the craft, and then a whole bunch of people phoned him and said, hey, I seen a UFO, and it just kind of went from there, and cats got grumpy. I think there's a little bit more detail that I can put into this, just a little bit. But nonetheless, though, it was an interesting story. So whenever I do a cartoon, and it's from somewhere in the world, like specifically, they mentioned it was from a different country, I'm gonna totally put the flag in there. So it was in the Soviet Union time, so put the old Soviet Union flag best I could there. But I think copper boots or brass boots would be terrible to use if you were an interplanetary traveler, but we don't know, because maybe they grew up on a planet that, I don't know, they were custom. Everything's different all over the universe, so it has to be. It can't be like one single flavor. Voronezh. Oh boy. Vaughn, you'll have to teach me that in person one day. Voronezh. Voronezh? Voronezh. Okay. I'd like to say it properly, so Voronezh aliens. I think when Dave comes back, we'll do a random secret drawing. I don't know what I'll slap down, but we'll figure out something. So I hope everyone's having a great night. It's a pretty good show. I was kind of hoping we got into like more of the reptilian stuff. They just like teased us with the reptilians. There's not enough reptilian talk in the universe. People are always like, oh, it's gray aliens. Oh, it brought down the Soviet Empire. Great, he's going to come back to me one day and be like, you didn't represent me good enough. Clunk me in the head with his little laser beam bar thing. I just discovered you can read the chat room inside of StreamYard. That is the coolest thing in the world. Why do I have two computers open? Wow. Clamtalian. Clamillion. Well, Clamillion sounds like it's more of a something that can change its color. Clamtillion sounds more of something with a hard, spiky outside. Oh boy. Actually, I don't know. I'm looking at both the chat rooms. I think I kind of prefer the YouTube chat room over the StreamYard chat room. That's just crazy. Nobody told me about this stuff. This is so cool. Good old technology. Flute? I guess it could be a flute. Apparently it was 65 inches or something. I'm not sure what that is in centimeters, and I'm Canadian, so... Because Canadians are like, we use the metric system, but then when you ship things anywhere or whatever, it's like, what's the inches? You're like, oh, jeez. But...
All right, Dirty. Here we go in 20 seconds.
20 seconds? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe.
Then draw weird cartoons in the meantime.
Okay.
Secret cartoons, Dave.
I'm muting you. All right. Thank you to Linda, Grant, Bob, Asteroid, Courtney, and NoCal for the super chats. Actually, we got like 30 seconds left. I apologize. Son of a man.
Making me sweat for nothing, Dave.
I know.
Oh, hey,
I was
you
sweating.
See something cool?
Sure.
If you can read it, these are all the colors of the notes of people that, whenever I make the speech balloons, when I ask people, what's your two favorite colors? That's what I use it for. So
very cool. All right, gotta shut it down. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciating earning your listening ears tonight, wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time once again where we head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller joins us for another spooky story.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. This experience takes place in the summer of 2011. We have a large living room with large storm windows, and in the same open space behind them is the kitchen and hallway with 2 bedrooms. I had a friend sleeping over. He was on the couch and I was on an air mattress in the center of the room. We had the goal of staying up until sunrise and had been playing Halo Reach on the living room TV. By all accounts, it had been a good night. Sometime around 3 a.m., we decided to switch to watching TV. My friend said he was feeling tired and wanted to take a nap. It was right around 4 a.m., and he had set his alarm for 4:45. I, on the other hand, was wide awake from the inhuman amount of caffeine I had consumed that night. He fell right asleep. Now, for the first time in years remembering the events of that night, I just noticed my hands are shaking. I feel sick to my stomach and under pressure in a way that is hard for me to describe. It makes me very anxious to think about this, still 9 years later. I was watching My Name is Earl, the episode where Earl falls for his personal trainer Wendy. I remember the exact moment the camera shows her for the first time in a brown Leonard Skinner t-shirt and the TV screen goes black with a bar that reads, "No signal." It displayed this bar for a moment and then completely turned off. Next, the lamps and our kitchen nightlight went out one by one. Through the storm windows came a dull white light that seemed to illuminate the entire interior of the house. I immediately felt a sense of panic. I ran to our white lamp. I remember vividly looking at the pattern of the fern on the side before rotating the switch. It clicked and would not start. The light was growing brighter and felt as if it was consuming me. I jumped over our coffee table and shook my friend. There was now a consuming droning sound. It was mechanical, but like a giant rush of air, though lower pitch. I screamed at him, shook him, opened his eyes. I pulled him off the couch and onto the floor, begging him to wake up. I picked up his cell phone and pressed the power button, but to no avail. I then ran to the kitchen, with the light growing brighter, and flicked the light switches. I remember the on and off of the switch and the specks of the stray green paint. I ran into my parents' bedroom, screaming, trying to shake them awake. I was completely unable to stir them. The light was now seeping into their bedroom. I sprinted out and down the hallway, and it was almost too bright to see. I found my way to my air mattress and covered my head with the blanket. I felt the light consume me and wrap around me, and then it was like I was just out. It's very similar to anesthesia. It was like skipping a frame in a movie. Suddenly, I was sitting up in my bed on my covers. The mechanical droning quickly faded, and the white light faded away to the yellow morning sunlight coming in from the storm windows. The TV came back on in the same sequence, beginning with the no signal warning. Then the DVR powered back up. The lamps and lights came back on one by one. I heard the microwave beep after regaining power. I picked up my friend's phone. It was 7 a.m. I woke him up and he asked why I did not wake him up when his alarm went off. I had no answer. I cannot explain this experience, although I'm absolutely certain it was not a dream. I have had lucid dreams before and they are nothing like this. It was so vivid, and I can still see it photographically in my memory. I remember the way my friend's eyelids felt when I lifted them, and the way the light switches felt, and exactly how my house was decorated at the time. I also watched as everything came back on. I have never told this story to anyone before.
We love the swamp dweller around here, freaking us out, spooking us out each and every night on Spaced Out Radio. You can go listen to Swamp Dweller yourself as well. Head over to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads, and he's got literally thousands of these amazing stories. So go on over there, make sure you hit subscribe on his channel. All right, we're moving on over to Super Duke and World Bigfoot Radio for the Cryptid Report. Yeah, Super Duke's World Bigfoot Radio, one of the top channels on YouTube, talking everything Bigfoot and cryptids. Definitely want to sign up for that one as well. Super Duke, you're looking like you were brawling with a Wookiee earlier today.
Yeah, got to get all Wookiee-fied, so I'm ready to go out and go camping with them for a couple weeks here. No, you know that Swamp Dweller story, that's why they quit having late night showings of My Name is Earl, too many UFO abductions. But anyway, I love that show, and it's so weird. Yeah, you probably would get UFO abductions from watching.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I almost fell for that. I almost fell. Jeez.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was a connection there. Honestly, that's why I kind of went. I could see there being a connection with that show.
Duke, I'm going to ask a favor here right off the bat, if you don't mind. Normally on this night, I do my Dave 101 at the bottom of the hour, but the way my voice is going right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to throw that in. So do you mind extending and hanging out with me a little bit longer?
I'll do the best I can, buddy. I got a little announcement for everybody because everybody on your channel is a fan of this other guy's channel and vice versa. Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. He had a little call-in show like he does every Thursday night. So, of course, I bashed my way into the chat room. And they went, Duke, you should call in. And I went, okay. So I called in. And then I harassed Jimmy for about 20 minutes. And I tried to talk him into coming up here and Bigfooting with me. But he at least broke down and said, okay, I'll run all Bigfoot shows next week. I'm canceling the interview with Lou Elizondo. We'll have you on Monday. And then you help me line up a couple other good Bigfoot researchers for Tuesday and Wednesday. And we'll do all Bigfoot over here on Fade to Black next week. And so that's fortuitous because I don't know if I'm going to be able to be here next week. I might be able to be here for the Tuesday show, but Thursday for sure will not be. So Robin McCrae will be filling in for me because I will be out in the field and up in the in my favorite research area with all the giant friendly Wookiees hanging around having a Wookiee fest up there.
Excellent. And, kudos to working with Jimmy because Jimmy's a good guy. He's a damn good guy and a great broadcaster as well. Great broadcaster.
Yeah, same thing that all three of us have in common. We're all for real. We all actually go out and do field research and have had experiences. And we all like heavy metal. There you go.
Hey, there's only one thing to do, man, and that is to rock it on out.
Dang straight. We can make our own Tenacious D only with three of us.
Very truthful. Very truthful.
I could play the bass, so I could do that part of it.
Yeah, I'll just play the rhythm guitar because Lord knows I'm not good enough to compete with Jimmy on lead.
Yeah, Jimmy will do all the leads and stuff, and the witty commentary while we're trying to hack our way through a 3-chord progression.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth?
Well, where are we at here time-wise? Until the bottom of the hour, I got something interesting to read from venerable and famed cryptozoologist Lorne Coleman, who has his own really cool cryptozoology museum. And he pointed out that just like UFOs, sometimes Bigfoot sightings go in flaps, and there are occasionally places and areas where there's just a tremendous amount of activity, and then sometimes it just never happens to that level again. Or sometimes it's years and years later before it picks up again. And he starts out with a couple of reports here that I'm going to omit because of time constraints. And he says, as if to back me up, there's nothing remarkable about these two reports from 2002. Bigfoot sightings happen all the time in North America, especially in the Pacific Northwest. While the media may cite 2 or 3 reports per month during the spring, summer, and fall, people are probably seeing Bigfoot and finding footprints at the rate of about 10 unpublicized encounters a week. More than 550 a year, year after year. Accounts of Bigfoot in America go back as far as this land and mentioned in history and in legends and folklore long before that. What's remarkable about these reports is that despite the overwhelming evidence for the existence of Bigfoot, the media and most scientists largely act as if the creature is a joke, a mass delusion. The truth is that at least one unknown species of primate exists in America. At least one. It's a big story, and it's not getting the attention it deserves. But it almost did in the year 2000, millennial summer of Sasquatch. So many sightings were reported by the media in the summer of that year with so much positive press attention, it is now actually referred to as the summer of Sasquatch. The sightings actually began popping up in the papers in the spring. March 18th, 2000, at about 5:15 in the morning, James Hughes was delivering the local newspaper, the Black River Shopper, along County Highway H near Granton, Wisconsin, when he noticed a figure standing in the roadside ditch and carrying what appeared to be a goat. At first, he took it to be a large man, but then he saw it was about 8 feet tall and had an ape-like face. Quote, he was covered with hair, a real dark gray color, with some spots that looked a honey color. It was walking on 2 legs and was mighty, mighty big, Hughes said. In its left hand, it held what Hughes at first took to be a goat, but later thought might have been a small sheep. But he was certain whatever kind of animal it was dead. When the Bigfoot-like beast turned to look at him, Hughes said he floored the gas pedal and sped away scared. I didn't call it in to the sheriff's department until the next day because people would think I'm crazy. And I don't drink. I don't use dope. I was wide awake, Hughes said. Hughes finally did file a report with the Clark County Sheriff's Department, and a deputy was dispatched to the scene, but could not find any large footprints or other evidence. The Sheriff's Department said Hughes gave a detailed description, but without tricks or other evidence suggesting a creature was in the area. The officers had to finally call off their searches. In April 2000, two fly fishermen discovered a series of huge human-like footprints 7 miles apart along the banks of Colorado's Eagle River. Bill Hiker, a wildlife biologist at the Colorado Division of Wildlife, evaluated the evidence and drew two conclusions. He told Theo Stein of the Denver Post that the tracks were not faked and they were not made by a bear. Hiker observed, "It's no animal that we know of," unquote. Reports of footprint finds and sightings then appeared throughout the Pacific Northwest. On May 7, 2000, campers found a set of Bigfoot tracks in the wilderness along the Sandy River near Troutdale, Oregon. On May 18th at Grants Pass, Oregon, a motorcyclist told of having seen a Bigfoot besides Highway 101. On June 3rd, a family found large footprints on their property in Ording, Pierce County, Washington. 2 days later, near Ording again, an elderly woman saw a hairy giant pass by her car. Meanwhile, back east on Friday, June 9th, 2000, at approximately 7 a.m., a woman was driving to work on Route 30 between Jeanette and Greensburg, Pennsylvania, when she spotted a Bigfoot. She had slowed down to look at a car for sale when she turned to her right and spotted a creature 6 to 7 feet tall standing on the back road, she told investigators Eric Altman and Stan Gordon. The creature was covered with black hair and appeared neckless. When the man-like creature crossed the stretch of road, she lost sight of it as it took 3 long strides into a nearby wooded area. On June 16, giant bear footprints were found along the Mountain Loop Highway in Darrington, Snohomish County, Washington. On June 21st, hikers climbed the 5,324-foot high Mount Pilchuck, Washington, found huge footprints. And on June 24th, large Sasquatch footprints were discovered in Washington State's Olympic National Park along the Salduc River. 3 days later, Gene Sampson found giant footprints behind his home on the Hoh Indian Reservation near Port Angeles, Washington. Hearing strange bam, bam noises, Sampson searched and discovered 2 different and distinct sets of footprints, which he measured at 14 inches on the one set and 17.5 inches in length and 7 or 8 inches in width. Cliff Crook, a local Bigfooter, made casts of the prints. To the late Grover Krantz, a Bigfoot researcher and retired Washington State University anthropology professor, examined them within days. The footprints on the reservation indicated the presence of 1 male and 1 female Sasquatch. Soon after Sampson's encounter, a forestry manager for the Suquamish First Nation saw Bigfoot in the forest on the Kitsap Peninsula in Washington State. Then on July 1st, the true media storm began when a psychologist reported seeing a Bigfoot while hiking with his family near the Oregon Caves National Monument in Selma, Oregon. Grants Pass psychologist Matthew Johnson was squatting in the woods near one of the monument's backwoods trails, hiding behind a tree, taking a bathroom break, and keeping his family in sight. Then he heard grunting and smelled something strong and unpleasant, obviously other than that which he was emitting. He says, "I turned my head quickly, and I saw this very tall, dark, hairy animal walk from behind one tree and over to another. The creature was watching his wife and children, too." Johnson said he was terrified. He ran back to his family and hustled them away from the area. "I didn't immediately tell them what I saw," Johnson would repeat many times later to me and others. "I didn't want to freak my kids out. I didn't want to freak my wife out." When the family stopped along the trail for a water break, Johnson just had to tell his wife, "I said, 'You're not going to believe this, but I saw Bigfoot.' And she said, 'I believe you.'" Johnson would later tell reporters such as Tim LaBarge of the Statesman Journal, "It was nothing else but a Sasquatch. I swear to God, I lived a lot of years in Alaska. I've been chased by a grizzly bear. This was no bear." Media attention to Dr. Johnson's sighting was the big event of the summer, if one was to judge by how much newspaper, radio, television coverage the sighting received. Johnson was interviewed widely, appeared on several morning and news programs, and was videotaped by filmmakers from around the world. His sighting was taken seriously, although some within the Bigfoot study ranks were upset the press would treat a PhD so nobly when the media ignores the reports from truck drivers, farmers, and hunters every week. The incident did catch the attention of some Bigfoot researchers in Northern California, who spent parts of the summer retracing the Johnson family steps along the monument's Big Tree Trail. Soon after the July 1st incident, investigator Scott Harriet and Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization John Freitas, accompanied by Park Ranger John Roth, followed the family's path along the monument pathways. Johnson said they found a large impression in the ground. He termed it a partial footprint. On July 3rd, near Concrete Skagit County, Washington, hikers found giant footprints near Highway 20. Then in August 2000, 2 hikers forced by stormy weather to camp in the high wilderness north of Crested Butte, Colorado, emerged with quite a tale, reported that to the Denver Post. They told of having been shadowed for 2 nights by at least one Bigfoot that came very close to their tent and camp. The media kept covering the Bigfoot story as the summer ended. Chris Wright, who lives on the Mountain Loop Highway near Granite Falls, Washington, just wanted his midnight cigarette that Sunday night, September 24th, 2000, according to Everett Washington's The Herald, but he got more than he bargained for, a close encounter with a Sasquatch. Quote, I was not a firm believer in Bigfoot, Wright, 29, a broadcast communicator tower manager, told local authorities, but after last night, I'm rethinking that. Wright stepped out on the back porch of his residence near Iron Mountain Rock Quarry, lit his cigarette, and walked off the porch and into the yard. That activated the motion detectors, and on came the security lights. At that point, I heard a loud, high-pitched yell, he recalled. I turned and looked to my right, and that's when I saw him. I was looking right at the son of a gun. The beast was only about 75 feet away, over at the tree line. The Bigfoot stood upright, about 7 feet tall, was dark in color, appeared to be covered with hair. When the lights came on, he ran into the woods, Wright said. It sounded like a human running through the woods. Being a hunter, Wright knew it wasn't a bear. Bears don't run like that. Running back into his home, Wright went after his rifle. I have guns in a gun case, and I was going for them when I decided to wake up my roommate and tell him what I saw, Wright noted. At first, he sort of laughed at me, and then he could see how shaken I was, and he began to believe me. Herald reporter Leslie Moriarty interviewed Wright and learned that he had seen a television show on Bigfoot sightings a few weeks before the sighting. On that documentary, a recording of a Bigfoot yell was played. What I heard sounded just like that, he told Moriarty. That's why I know this was a Bigfoot. The next morning, Wright looked for footprints, but found none. Granite Falls police received no calls about Bigfoot sightings that Sunday night. I haven't ever gotten any in the 5 years I've been here, Officer Rich Michelson said. I thought all those guys who said they saw Bigfoot were loony, Wright said soon after his sighting. But I know what I saw. It had to be a Bigfoot, nothing else that big or that tall. Meanwhile, the most dramatic event of the year was occurring just due south, also in Washington state, not far from Mount St. Helens and Ape Canyon, where a group of Bigfoot hunters had set a trap for Bigfoot, and their effort would produce one of the most concrete pieces of Bigfoot evidence to date, the Skookum Cast.
You know, it's funny. I've been to Concrete, Washington, and that Highway 20 that runs north. Oh, you could totally tell you were in Sasquatch territory. And I'll tell you, that entire Highway 20, my man, is all the little towns that strut through there right to the I-5. They are all about Sasquatch.
Every one of them's got a giant chainsaw statue, and
Dude,
yeah,
it is more than that. We're talking paintings of Sasquatch, murals of Sasquatch. You go into a gas station, it's 3/4 Sasquatch. You know, oh, they are right into it along that Highway 20. And Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, I used to speak at his paranormal conference in Concrete.
wow.
when he held that, and they have found a lot of evidence regarding Sasquatch in that area. A lot of evidence.
I can believe it. Well, look at where it is. It's between Mount St. Helens and Ape Canyon. Okay.
No, this is in the northern part. It's behind.
okay.
It's behind Mount Baker.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that you were mentioning areas that I could actually recognize. The Pacific Northwest, though, man, it's crazy because literally you go right through Washington or California, Washington, Oregon, and you know this, Duke, and go right through into Washington and then right into BC. There is not a lot of towns in that giant stretch. Not a lot of towns. And there's a lot of wilderness for these creatures to be roaming around.
Yeah. Same thing with Western Montana. You know, your average, we don't even have any cities. We have towns that are approaching 100,000 in population. and they're like 200 miles apart from each other, you know.
Right. Super Duke, we're going to convince you to stay back another 15 minutes, if you don't mind, because old Davey's not feeling very well. We're going to continue the Cryptid Report with Duke Sullivan of World Bigfoot Radio when we return. Thanks for bailing me out, buddy. I know it was last second, but...
No problem.
I just got this frog in my throat that just will not release.
Yeah, I noticed you've been sounding rough for about a week. That's kind of
Have
bad.
you tried sucking on a fisherman's friend?
I've had like 5 of them tonight. I'll tell you, the mint brand is pretty damn good. I've got the lemons coming up next. Don't take the originals. The originals are horrible. They were literally making me feel ill.
You sound like you're trying to talk with somebody strangling you at the same time.
Oh, I know. Just hoping one day it releases.
Yeah, like sooner rather than later. I'm going to take a quick smoke break here so I can keep the dulcet tones of my voice going.
All right, buddy.
Well, Dave, what do you think about my alien?
Well, let's take a little looky poo here, buddy. Varones Aliens.
I forgot. I was told how to say the name, and I already forgot about it. I'll have to brush up on my
Varones.
Russian tomorrow.
Voronezh. The syllable in Russian words, we started in North America on the first letters, but they do the second syllable as the high pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm not good at language, man. Trust me.
You're good at art, though.
I was going to say I can draw a good cartoon.
You are a cartoon specialist. You are a cartoon specialist. This is where you talk, Filth.
Oh, where I talk. Well, I was going to say, he's apparently got a spandex suit that's made out of some kind of silver material. Nonetheless, though, I've already started to work on a calendar. So make sure you get a calendar next year so that you can be reminded of how weird the world is. The terrible thing is I'm going to have to find only 12 drawings to put into this sucker.
12.
Yes.
You're a 12 kind of guy. Thanks, Bree. I will definitely check that out after the show. Super Quest, how you doing, buddy? Gorgeous Gloria, thank you for joining us. And let's see here. Who else joined us late? Zune.
I don't know, Dave. Maybe you should have some tea with some honey of some sort.
I'm going
to
go shoot some hot sauce after.
Ooh, ghost pepper.
It'll be warm. It's gonna hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna hurt.
You got that like Nuke 97 stuff sitting there?
No. I've only got one. There's a couple of bottles that are just dangerous. You know that, but I gotta find something that I can put a teaspoon on, or fill a teaspoon so that way it can burn all the way down. Then I can start going all Avatar with their song "Let It Burn," and just start banging my head to the pain. I don't Bombshell Bomber. I don't have any Blueberry Plague. I gotta get some more. But that is good stuff. Blueberry Plague is fantastic for hot sauce.
Get the plague.
I like Bomber. Blueberry Plague the shit out. That shit out. That's awesome.
Bomber should come on and tell us about her Bigfoot encounters sometime.
Maybe she should.
Tell her to email Dirty Filth at bookings@spacedoutradio.com.
So my son, Duke, you'll like this. I got to say this in 30 seconds. I take my son the other night to guitar lessons. He walks in the door. He's getting his guitar out, shows his teacher his, picks that he got from Avatar's guitarist. And all of a sudden, his guitar teacher starts playing one of the songs to Avatar called Bloody Angel. And my son, he's like, do in his guitar case. All of a sudden, he's like, so at the end of his lesson, he was playing the same intro to it. It was really cool. And yeah, my son lost a tooth today. He lost a tooth. Yeah, he pulled it out himself. He's pretty proud of that. Yeah. All right. Here we go, everyone. Final half hour starting right now. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives either on our podcast or on YouTube at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the Cryptid Report as our main man, Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, is here. And Duke, welcome back.
Hey, glad to be back again, Dave. It's always such a blast to be here on Spaced Out Radio, hanging around with you.
Oh, hey, I appreciate that. Tell us about your adventure that's coming up here next week.
Oh, well, actually, I have many adventures that we're trying to get done here yet before I run out of summer. Next week, I got Eric Adventure Man, who's actually one of Jimmy Church's friends, and he's showing up here for about a week. We're going to try and get out there like midweek and then be there all the way through the weekend and into the following week and hit at least 2 areas, potentially 3. Then he's got to go do a conference for like 2 days in another state. And he's talking about possibly coming right back again afterwards. And I got a few other people that are talking about showing up this summer and doing the Bigfoot camp out thing. And one of them that I really hope does make it up here and keep saying they're going to is, if you ever heard of the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek, well, it's the guy that wore the suit in The Legend of Boggy Creek, the Boggy Creek monster himself, Keith Crabtree. So I would really like to go Bigfooting with the Boggy Creek monster. Come on up, Keith. How freaking cool is that? Come on, Keith. Come up. Come up.
Oh, totally agree.
And he seriously wants to. So it's like, just for cool value all by itself. Come on, Keith. Come on. So looking forward to that. Cindy Goodbreak from over in Idaho, over there by where Nate is talking about trying to make it here mid-month. And of course, Nate's also talking about trying to be here mid-month. And then I've got new local research team members that I have to vet my way through here and see who's worthy and whose excrement stuck upon the bottom of your shoe from being in the yard where you stepped in it.
Insane. Now, Duke, where you go looking for Sasquatch? All right. Are there many there? Is it a big tribe of them or a clan of them? Or is it something that, you're searching for a few different ones that maybe just traveling around?
Well, the mountains around here, you can always run into random ones that are going from point A to point B because he tended to use the mountain ranges as convenient travel routes where there aren't really any humans and nobody's really going to see them. They can pretty much be flagrantly right out in the open. Chances of running into a human, pretty slim. I've got 4 research areas within 50 miles of here that are all active and all have different groups in them. The biggest group in my main research area is probably about 24 individuals. I don't know how many there are over in Coloma, but according to Robin, there's 3 different troops over there. There's 2 of them that live further down the mountain, and then there's one right up by the top, which are apparently the playful ones, because I had another psychic contact them besides Robin, and between the 2 of them, the read that they got on them is they like hanging out in that ghost town because they know people are scared of it. And they know people are going to run away at night. They won't usually be up there at night. And if they are up there at night, they're nervous. They're on edge. They're looking over their shoulders every 2 seconds. They're listening for every little sound, at which point the Sasquatch make a sound. And, you know, they dump a load in their Pampers and they peel out in a shower of gravel as fast as they can get out of the town, which apparently to the Sasquatch is pretty hilarious. So apparently that's why this group likes to hang around this ghost town, because they like to make people think, yeah, there's ghosts here, which there are. But I think a lot of the activity that they're experiencing isn't actually the ghosts. It's the obnoxious Sasquatch that think it's funny to watch humans, when in danger, when in doubt, run in circles, scream and shout, jump in your car and peel out. You know, that's the human motto as far as they're concerned. It's pretty hilarious watching humans freak out and run away. So apparently that's why that group lives up by the top of the mountain. The other 2 that live further down are more like regular Sasquatch, standoffish, go away, stupid humans. I don't want you around here. You stink. That kind of attitude.
What is the relationship between Sasquatch and humans, do you think?
There really isn't one at this point. They've been doing their damnedest for thousands of years to avoid us and have nothing to do with us. And occasionally it does happen. Like the greatest Bigfoot encounter that I know of was somebody that came on my channel and told the whole story, where they were 15 years old and they were out hunting, and they ran into a starving juvenile Sasquatch. And long story way short, it turned out his parents had actually been killed by humans and his sister. And this guy ended up being friends with them for 5 years and helped me take care of him until he found another group of Sasquatch that would take him in, and went on his merry Sasquatch way. And that's all. The Sasquatch name was Glag. That's on my channel, Glag Saga. There's 9 episodes because 5 years, lots of ground to cover. Sibylla Irwin, famed Bigfoot artist, did the drawings of young Glag, and famed Alaskan Bigfoot artist Rob Roy Menzies did the artwork of adult Glag. And when Kevin got up here, we took him up to Coloma to go Bigfooting with us, and guess who showed up? Glag. And Kevin hadn't seen him in 5 years. So, yeah, Kevin was pretty excited. He got to actually see his buddy again. That was about 1.5 years before he died. So he actually got to see him after, 35 years, or 30 years at least. And apparently Glag had his kids with him too. He said he had his mate with, but she had been shot at by humans, so she wouldn't get close. So he couldn't get a really good look at her. He had his 2 sons with, and they were both 10 feet tall, a little in excess of. One of them had his newborn with, which was about the size of like a 4-year-old human kid. And I said, well, how big was Glag? And he said, well, he got bigger. He got a lot bigger. And I'm like, Kevin, the last time you saw him, he was 9.5 feet tall. How big is he now? And Kevin said, well, he's 2 of me plus about 2 feet. So 14 and a half feet.
Holy cow.
He leapt the track there, and that was 26.5 inches. So he got a lot bigger.
Gee.
So yeah, Coloma, notoriously weird, creepy place. And I was also had I was the host to having the Paranormal Portal actual field research team with MCAT and those guys up there 2 summers in a row, just strictly doing the ghost paranormal research. There's a couple really haunted, ruined buildings there that they spent a bunch of time at, and they were just blown away. The one guy, Dan Pruitt, said, I've done research all over the place. I've done these, abandoned sanitariums and penitentiaries and Like nothing is even close to this with the amount of activity that's going on here. And the last time they were there, we were up at the Spooky Shack, which was outside the ghost town. It's not part of the ghost town. Somebody moved a hunting shack in there in like the 70s. And now this place is probably more haunted than the ghost town is. It's just creepy as all get out. And it's sitting on this ridge line back past the spooky valley that we won't go into. And they had seen it the year before and had gotten some of their equipment in there, and were just blown away at how weird all the stuff that was going on. So they brought better equipment, and they got up there. What did we go up there at midnight? They went by car. Me and Mike hiked straight through the woods and beat them there. We were there 20 minutes before they got there by car. Because we went straight line right through the woods, right where all the Bigfoot tree structures were, right past the megaliths, and right to the haunted shack. Because we'd been up there so much during the day, we knew exactly where it was. So we're sitting there in the dark waiting when they pull up. They came up there, they unloaded all their equipment, they went into the spooky shack. Everything starts flickering, and boxes start making weird noises and voices and sounds going bang, bang. That's not a sound that's programmed into the sound bank. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on in there. And at one point, one of the guys, everybody's inside except me. I'm sitting outside. One of the guys looks out the window of the haunted shack and goes, "Hey, Duke, I just saw a shadow up on top of the hill." And I went, "Okay, that's my job. I'll take care of it." So I'm like happy to go up to the ridge line where they just saw the Sasquatch, because I want to get away from the spooky shack too. I'm not into the ghost thing. So I go walking up in the dark up to the top of the hill, and one of the guests of the Paranormal Portal team came outside and kind of kept an eye on me as I walked up there. And I get up to the top of the ridge, and I don't see or hear anything, which means nothing, because at the top of the ridge on my right-hand side, there's all these little pine trees that are about 8 or 9 feet tall, perfect for a Bigfoot to stand behind. To my left, there's standing stone megalith looking rocks that are about 10 feet wide and 15 feet tall, sticking up out of the ground. Again, perfect for one to hide behind. My impression was that he was behind the rocks over to my left, but I wasn't about to go over there and shine a flashlight on him or anything. So I just stood where I was, and I shined the flashlight around a little bit and went, "Hey, who's up here screwing around? Don't let the humans see you." Kind of lectured him a little bit. And then I turned around and I went back, walked back down again. And they were all commenting, "Is Duke alive? I see his flashlight going around up there and stuff." "Yeah, he's coming back down the hill. He's all fine," you know. And if there was anything up there, it just left or it hit. It didn't do anything. But meanwhile, they got a whole bunch of stuff videotaped inside the spooky shack of the ghost stuff that was going on there. So they were having a blast. And then when that was all over with, they piled back in their car. It's now like 1:30 in the morning, right? We're at the spooky shack outside the ghost town on the ridge line where we maybe just saw a Sasquatch. And they're like, do you guys want to like walk behind the car or anything? And we're like, "No, we'll just cut through the woods." "What?" "Yeah, we'll just cut through the woods on the way back the same way we got here. We'll see you guys when you get back there." They're like, "Okay." They take it off in the car. Again, we did literally that. We cut through the woods, straight through it. That was scary on the way back, because when we went through where that whole area of tree structures is, and those tree structures been there a long time, you could tell they were right there watching us. You could feel it. And you could also feel that they were not happy we were there at 1:30 in the morning, especially without doing much of anything in the way of flashlights or announcing that we're there. There was moonlight, so we're just kind of not using the flashlight, chug, chug, chug through the woods, and they're like, "Nah." They were not happy, you could tell. So we finally got out of there. We got back to camp. We beat them back there by about 10 minutes, I think, 10, 12 minutes before they showed up in the car. They're like, "What, do you got to teleport or something?" You know, we're driving down the roads with a car, and how do you get back and forth so much faster? Well, the roads curve all over the place, and you know, straight lining it, you're only, you know, well, maybe a quarter mile. But if you're taking the roads and they're all rutted and pockmarked and big puddles, and you got to go around this and slow down, and which turn do we take here? Okay, this way. Yeah, so by the time they get there, we've been sitting there 20 minutes waiting for them already. So yeah, Coloma has been notorious since I've been going up there in 2015, and spent 3 days there with researcher X, who has a big horse ranch down in Florida that gets Bigfoot activity and paranormal activity. And she had a ghost box, and we showed that on the Coloma video earlier this year, way back in 2015 when we had that thing going, and that needle was buried. I mean, it it was buried, and she's asking this thing questions, and she goes, if you actually understand what I'm saying, can you turn the box off? On the count of 3, 1, it goes off. And she's like, okay, you are here and understanding what I'm saying. Can you turn the box back on? On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Nothing happens. This goes on for a while. Finally, she goes, did you drain my battery? That's exactly what it did. The battery was completely dead, and she had just put it in right before we started filming. So this was going on for about 15 seconds before I got my camera on and started filming it. And it went on for a solid minute while I had it on camera. And this thing was just... You're like, what are we doing? Sitting on a power line? We're in a ghost town. Right. There was never electricity here, ever.
My goodness, man.
So, yeah, we've seen plenty of the weird evidence. And then when last time we had Paranormal Portal team up there, and that's when Kevin was there and Glag and family were there. We weren't going to stay around for 3 days. We had another area to go to. So we took off in the morning, and they showed up right about the time we were leaving, and they stayed there for the day and did more research. And while we were gone, Brent was just standing there with his camera panning around. And when he got to this one ridge line, there's something behind these trees, and it goes boop and ducks down. So he didn't really notice it. I'm looking at the video, and I'm like, Brent, there's something big up on, because I'm so used to seeing this. I know exactly what's supposed to be there and what isn't supposed to be there, and how far away it is and how big objects are. Because I've been all over this damn ghost town since 2015, a lot. So I know where everything is. I've even watched a lot of the buildings falling apart. So I'm looking at that going, that object on the hill right there, there's only 2 things it could potentially be. It's either a really big bear or it's a Sasquatch, because it's too big to be a human. So I take it and I break it down, and I go frame by frame as he's bringing the camera across it, and you can see it change shape. And what it did was it kind of turned sideways and ducked down a little bit, just in between the 2 trees that it was kind of looking at him at. And then it's only human size, because I took my friend Chris up there with me, and I stood in exactly the spot that Brent had been, and I put him in exactly the spot in the trees where unknown object was. And Chris is a guy about my size, about 6 feet tall, but not too husky. He's like average build. He was maybe a third as wide as this object was, and about 2 or 3 feet shorter. So whatever it was really big. And that was right in the daytime. That was like afternoon, like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And
so these things
the ghost box going, and apparently the Sasquatch thought it was entertaining listening to the ghost box making all these weird noises, so they were sitting there watching them.
So realistically, I mean, these things are playing with you. They're toying with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's mostly our fault because we underestimate how smart they are, so they take advantage of us. If we knew that they were as smart as they are, we would treat them with the respect they deserve, which the natives always tell us we should treat them with. But we don't usually listen, and we think we're looking for a big ape out in the woods. And then they go, oh, these stupid beeps think that we're just big apes in the woods. Let's play mind games with them.
Okay, are the Sasquatch being sarcastic or using almost sarcastic sense of humor with humans then in this area?
These ones at that ghost town, absolutely. Absolutely. The only reason that they kind of leave us alone is because they know that we know they're there, and they know we're not scared of them. So it's kind of pointless to screw around with us because they can't make us go, and run away. We'll be like, hey, you want a donut? So that's not entertaining, So, yeah. And then there's other ones that they actually are hostile. If they don't want you in their area and they start trying to chase you away, they're not kidding. They mean it. And you could have the same group that has, completely different interactions with different people. Some people, maybe they like them and you can get away with all kinds of hell. And other ones, as soon as they come into the area, they start pitching rocks the size of baseballs at them. And they're good at reading people. I wish I could read people as good as they can. Oh my God. They know right away if you're good or bad by their definition of good or bad. Now, Santa Claus should have them working for him because he always wants to know who's been bad or good. The Sasquatch, no. They could just be telling Santa. Maybe that's where he gets his info from.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I would just love to go on one of these adventures, and I know you invite me all the time, and I'm going to try and get down there. You know, my schedule is piling up, but I am going to try and get down there. And
well, see, I know they like you. I know they like you, see, and that's why I don't have any problem inviting you, because they'll be like, oh, Dave, he's one of the few broadcasters on Earth that we actually like. He can come visit.
Yeah. In the meantime, in my own area, maybe it's my deodorant, but I seem to be scaring them the hell away. Let's get to Jonathan's question for you, Duke. When you have an encounter, does the compass act differently?
You know, that's a really great question. And most of the time that I've been doing the research, I haven't had a compass. I do everything by dead reckoning, because there were some places in northern Minnesota that I used to live in that compasses didn't work properly. So if you were relying on a compass to get your butt back out of some swamp again, you might be going to be dead. So dead reckoning worked a lot better. Consequently, I generally don't even use a compass. If I have to, I look at like Google Earth image and get a good idea of the lay of the land, the area I'm going to walk into, where's the draws in it, river streams, that kind of stuff. So you could just follow the natural landmarks that are in the area. In my research area, Mike's even talked about this before, we'll pick out like unusual looking stumps or boulder piles or something. And that's how we know we're in a certain area, because there's that thing sitting there, and you don't see it anywhere else in the woods. So there's all kinds of different ways to do that. But does a compass act differently? I've heard from people that absolutely they do, and especially around like tree structures. Michael, who was with me, was trying to film with his cell phone, and he walked underneath an arch, and the cell phone turned off. And we've had this kind of weird stuff happening when you get around structures and stuff. And I've heard other people have actually taken EM meters and held them up at the top of teepee structures, and they start firing off like crazy. So like maybe some of this stuff is actually some kind of an energy collector.
Well, Duke, it's that time of the night. Got to say goodnight to you, my friend. And I appreciate you bailing me out here, but with my voice dying on me. Because in radio, there's nothing more important than a voice. And I didn't have one tonight. Thank you, Duke.
You're very welcome, Dave.
We'll
see you next Tuesday, probably.
Yeah, you will. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background when Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. We good? We clear?
Right on.
Oh. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had another short thing that I could have read, but I'll just save that for Tuesday, since we got right up to the edge of it, and then it's like, ooh, Skookumcast. What's Skookumcast? Let's talk about Skookumcast.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people probably don't know what that is. So I was just reading Lauren Coleman's brief on it, and he was talking about Skookum is the local word for Bigfoot or Sasquatch.
Hi,
Sort
gorgeous.
of.
Hi, sensational Sherry. Sorry, Duke, I cut you off there.
That was okay. I just said, yeah, it's sort of the local name for Bigfoot or Sasquatch, in as much as that's what they call them. But Skookum literally means mountain devil. So apparently they didn't have very good relations with the local Sasquatch there.
No.
You can kind of tell by the names that the tribe used to describe them whether they got along with them or whether they didn't get along with them.
Right. Right. Well, I'm going to go take a bathroom break here. I will be right back.
Go break the bathroom.
Make
sure make sure El Omni Volador doesn't mug you while you're in there.
Oh, yeah. I kicked him right out. I think he went back to jail.
Bomber, I didn't know you knew German. I just thought you spoke French. Hey, D. DFB. How is the land down under the upside down? Night, Michael. Yeah, you should come out here and visit the biggies up in the mountains here, Bomber. Joe, yep, right on. Yep. The upside down land. Hey, Jenny. Sorry, I'm not more entertaining, guys. If you got questions or anything, now's the time to ask, or I can answer them until Dave comes back. Is your mother calling in the cryptids, DFB? I'm just looking forward to getting out as much as I possibly can this month, especially since it's the hottest month of the summer. And all my research areas are over a mile in altitude, so the temperature tends to be a lot less. Significantly so in a couple of cases. It also looks like we're going to be getting back up to where all the megaliths are that we did the quick survey of last summer. And we've had people look at that video since then, and absolutely... one of the guys made a comment on it recently, said, I am an archaeologist. That absolutely is not natural. That's a polygonal megalithic wall, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's get somebody that, actual academic background to show up here and sign off on it and go, okay, we got huge megaliths all over the place here. This is a World Heritage site. People shouldn't be allowed to come in here and just wreck up the place. Yeah, that's true, Bomber. Bomber lives way up in Canada, and I live down in the United States, but yet she lives south of where I live. Yeah, if you live far enough more north, you don't have a very long summer. So here in Montana, you got about 4 months where you can get in all your field research during the year. If you manage to get in more time than that, you're just basically being really lucky, because they don't generally open the passes to go into the mountains until May. And then they can be closed again as soon as there's enough snow that they don't want to bother with it because they're not going to plow them. And when it just gets to be too dangerous to let the public drive in there, they just close the gates and you can't get in. And which is, sometime between the beginning of October and sometimes into December. You don't know exactly when that's going to happen. And that's really like iffy because, you go up into the mountains and go camping for a weekend or something. Well, while you're up there sleeping at night, it drops 2 feet of snow on you. Uh-oh. Can you drive out through 2 feet of snow on a winding, one-lane, unpaved, no safety rail, rutted road connected to the side of a cliff 400 or 500 feet high? You slide off, you're deader than dead. You'll fall about 200 feet before you hit treetops. So, yep, unfortunately, thanks to the fact that the biggies like to be way up high in the mountains most of the time, makes it difficult to get up there any other time than pretty much smack dab in the middle of the summer.
Hi, Super Dookie Poo.
Hey, Dave Rooney.
Oh, God, I feel crappy.
Well, it's okay to feel crappy as long as you look marvelous. And you, Dave, look marvelous.
Oh, thank you, Super Duke. But comments like that, you can get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, you damn saucer jockeys.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Get off my lawn, you damn probe hoppy saucer jockeys.
Right?
How can you even find it?
When's Nate Foot coming your way?
Wednesday. Yeah, hopefully by next Wednesday I'll be out in the woods. We may be out there sooner than that. If I have to be out there on Tuesday, Robin will cover for me.
Awesome.
Speaking of...
I did a couple things on YouTube today.
Oh, cool.
I put in that in order to chat on our chat room, you got to be a subscriber now. And I also put in there that I actually talked to someone at Google regarding our theme song. Little Brother is Watching by Bumblefoot, because Bumblefoot has talked to both ASCAP and TuneCore about allowing us to use his music, and they keep flagging us for copyright infringement. So I talked to YouTube today. I said, look, I've had the same theme song for over 6 years.
Yeah.
And I said, this is hurting my channel's growth, my algorithms, my advertising. And I have permission to use his music. I have a letter right here that I can send you. So I'm hopefully they said it takes about 24 hours. They're going to review it. And hopefully by tomorrow, barring any hiccups, we are going to be copyright infringement free.
Yay.
Which
I had the same
boost us.
I had the same problem with the music that I use on my show, which as soon as I put it on, and I got flagged for copyright infringement. So I called both members of the band, both people which had at some point in the past been a roommate with me, not at the same time. So I knew both of them very well. And I went, which one of you assholes flagged me? And they went, I didn't flag you. What do you mean? Well, I got a copyright strike, and apparently it's from your music production company. Well, one of them was actually on the road on the way back from Oregon driving. I got him on the phone. And before he got back here, they had taken the strike down. He basically called his music production company and metaphorically put his foot up their ass and said, look, we get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of listens on this show. He's the best promotion we have. Don't you fucking ever flag him again for copyright infringement.
Nice.
So yeah, I can use any of the stuff off any of their albums ever now. I can even use stuff that I recorded of them live that's never been on an album.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, when I had a review with a gentleman who's a professional YouTuber who went over our channel, and he's actually a big fan of our shows, and he was talking. We were talking about the Bumblefoot music that we use, because it's just so perfect for what we do,
Yeah.
And I mean, 6 years, every show, dude, we have had to file a copyright claim. 6 years. And the same letter from Bumblefoot we would put in there, and there would be times where they wouldn't accept his letter as proof that we have permission. And then we'd have to go back and appeal the decision, only to, have it reversed like a month or two later. And a couple of my biggest interviewed shows were flagged permanently, like erased.
Don't get me started on YouTube. They used to be good.
So, I just don't want, I mean, I could change music. That's not the point, It's not the point. It's the idea that when you show them proof that you have proof from the artist, you should only have to show it once.
Yeah. Not once a day.
Not once a day. But once.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I've seen them do some absolutely horrible things to other channels before, including the person that I've got guesting on my show on Sunday, who has a channel with 65,000 subs that they demonetized, and he probably doesn't get any more views than you do, Dave, or I do. They just totally wrecked his channel for no damn reason whatsoever. And he had an excellent channel. He still got it. He's had to change his format a little bit in order to keep things going. And he doesn't, I don't think he's ever done an interview with anybody before. So this is a first. But I got Bill Madden from the Night Terrors channel. And Bill does some really good stuff along the same lines as the stuff that we do. So if you guys haven't found his channel already, go check him out. He's really good. Well, you can't suck and have 65,000 subs. Let's put it that way.
I was just glad to talk to a human today, because I've tried to get, over the months and years, tried to get a human involved in this, and they have been like, well, we don't know what to do, or pardon me, you don't even get a human, you get some algorithmic bot, and that's trying to chat as a human. And excuse me. And it was just nice. It was a change of pace. That's for sure. It's a nice change of pace. And the guy I dealt with, he was really, really cool. Really, really cool. And he's like, dude, let's try and figure this out. And I'm like, yeah, I would like that. So, see how it goes. Hopefully after tomorrow, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, they hit me with a strike for a video that I used with permission. The owner of the video told them I had permission. They still issued the strike. They've never taken the strike down. It's been on my channel for 1.5 years, almost 2 years.
I got one of those going back to 2017. I used to bring on this real deep, dark conspiracy guy. And then when the social media platforms started busting all the conspiracy people, it was funny because I had stopped interviewing him after he publicly questioned the Holocaust
Oh,
and
please.
a denier of that. And I was not like, oh, my chair.
Thought your back broke there for a minute.
Yeah. Chair's done that since day one, but no, he started all of a sudden becoming real loud and rampant about denying that event and calling it a red flag and a hoax and all this kind of crap. And I had stopped interviewing him because of that, because I wasn't going to play that game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And long story short, YouTube started removing his every interview that he ever did. And in 2019 or 2020, I actually had my channel flagged by YouTube for an interview, and I got a warning for an interview I did 3 years previous, and when he was still legally allowed to be on the channel.
Yeah. Isn't it nice when they make move the goalposts and make everything retroactive? And then when they change the rules every 2 weeks and they don't bother to tell you what the hell they are. It's always so nice when they do that.
Oh, I hear you. Hey, open-minded clarity, how you doing? Who else has showed up here in the late stages? Let's take a little peeky poo here. Oh, the gorgeous Holly Williams has returned.
Well, hello, Holly.
Joe's like, if you quit using Bumblefoot, I'm out of here. I don't want to quit using Bumblefoot. I like using Bumblefoot.
He even has permission to use Bumblefoot. It's still not good enough for frickin' YouTube.
Yeah.
You saw Bigfoot NE, is that Nebraska? Read the chat room here. Michael Fontaine, NE as Nebraska. I saw one over there too in April when I was over there for the Bigfoot conference. Was not expecting that. Ugly snack. Yeah, walk into the woods where you're so drunk that you're walking face first into trees, and make sure to whistle loudly while you do so. If you want to make it even more ironclad, just smear yourself with barbecue sauce before you wander drunkenly into the woods, walking face first into trees and whistling really loud. How to become a Gugly snack. Hell yeah, I used to play bass in a band. Now Dave has got his Elder Samurai look on.
Oh, why not?
I expect you to go, whoa, pull out your katana, and defend yourself from El Omni Volador crashing through the door at any moment.
Oh, that jerk won't do that. He's too scared. Hey, River Dogma, lovely LaDonna Blackwood. Sometimes I just get sick and tired of my hair being in a ponytail. I swear my hair has stopped growing.
Mine pretty much has since I quit putting it in a ponytail. When I used to do that, I had it all the way down to my belt. Now I just let the sun and the wind beat it up, and it snaps off naturally. Stays about the same length.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you, brother.
I was having fun biking around today. It was 95, and I've got this black tank top on, and I'm like, why the hell did I wear this black tank top? I'm very much regretting this right now. I should have thought out the wardrobe thing better before I went for a bike ride in the sun when it's 95.
Who does that? Who goes for a
Me.
something like 95-degree weather? That just silliness. Just absolutely silliness.
Well, first of all, I got to stay in shape so I can actually hike at high altitude. And secondly, my vehicle isn't currently working, so I don't have any options anyway. And today I needed to get the bike over to the bike shop because the sidewall of the front tire was about to blow out. And I was about to have no transportation, so I got that over there and got it fixed. And the guy that was doing the repair agreed with my assessment and said, wow, you really believe in waiting till the last possible minute to get things fixed, huh? I said, could you tell by the Gorilla Tape I had on holding the two bulges in the sidewall in so I could make it here?
Oh my gosh. You ride one of those electric bikes yet?
I'll tell you what, any of those weird gadgety bikes that you can imagine I've seen driving around town here. Electric bikes, electric scooters, electric skateboards, everything. Motorized bicycles, motorized skateboards, you name it. Those little one-wheel weird things, those things too, that are motorized.
Not a fan?
No, I mean, for short range, I can go just as fast on a regular bicycle. So, yeah. And it's not going to be able to haul equipment 80 miles to go up into the mountains and go bigfooting. So,
The Sam Hill. What's going on here? Give me 1 sec here, buddy. Try this out. The hell is it making me do this?
yeah, Bomber, that's for sure. The hot weather and everything will just beat the you-know-what out of your hair. And especially if you're getting out in the wind a lot. Riding on motorcycles and stuff like that really beats the you-know-what out of your hair.
What the hell are they making me do this for?
Or they got some new gauntlet that you have to go through in order to post your show.
Yeah. We transfer. I'm logged in, and all of a sudden they want me to put in a bloody verification code.
Oh, for God's sake. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They're irritating and overly complicated, always.
Oh, my God.
Someone make the internet user-friendly, damn it. I'm sick of waiting.
Oh. Well, thank you, lovely LaDonna, saying I'm looking good tonight. A Dog Man hot sauce t-shirt.
What was the orange one that you had on yesterday? I couldn't quite make out the design of it.
That was UFOs and tacos.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's even better.
I got to send you some swag, Dookie Poo.
Yeah, I need some SOR swag. I got to actually get some more. I got to get some pieces of my own swag. I haven't bought anything out of my shop in a couple of years. My old Montana Bigfoot Project research shirt is falling apart. You can tell I've worn it in the field a lot. It's literally falling apart.
Oh.
I like to have that stuff that I can advertise for other people. While I'm walking around in the field and they're getting epic video of me not noticing that there's a Bigfoot following me, you can have your brand on my shirt. As I'm being completely idiotic and being followed by a Bigfoot that I don't know is there. You'll see your brand.
Well, that's nice. That's nice.
I'm not going to lie and portray myself as like, oh, I can sneak up on Bigfoot. Or you like bullshit. Nobody can sneak up on Bigfoot. If you're lucky enough, they think you're hilarious and they'll just follow you around because you'll do something stupid eventually. And it'll be hilarious. So they want to be there to see it. And then they'll follow you around. And then maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get them on camera just because you're filming all over the place all the time. And you randomly turn around and film behind you for no reason. But that's the reason you do it.
Oh, I hear you, dude. You just keep on swimming. Just keep on swimming. I told my nephew and his fiance, I said I'm getting you both underwear for a wedding gift from me.
SOR pasties or what?
No, my face on it. They could each have underwear with my face on it.
SOR teabag.
You know. Let's see here.
For all the lovely ladies out there, you can now purchase your very own SOR butt floss. Tea bags are also available.
Well, they're getting married in 15 days now. So I'm trying to hopefully get these shipped here beforehand. But having troubles with I'm having troubles with Printify right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of days ago. Well, I'm having issues with Teesprings right now too. Their payout system isn't working. Get off your dead ass and pay me. It's been almost a month, jerks.
Right? It's ridiculous.
And they tell you right in their rules, well, it may take 7 to 10 business days before you get your payout. Yeah, okay, well, I put in my payout on the 9th of last month. Get off your dead ass and give me my money. All I have to do is push a button. Sorry, it is that simple. It
Well,
is literally that simple.
I hear you. It's ridiculous. Hey, where's Sushi tonight?
Oh, he'd been sleeping for quite a while. He stayed out last night, overnight actually. So he's all worn out. He wants to sleep in the house tonight. I'm getting him ready to go out camping with us for a few days. So he's used to the being outside day and night thing.
Nice. Nice. Hey, Peter, how you doing? That's cool.
Well, if it was blurry, it probably is a Bigfoot. If it's in sharp focus, it's inevitably fake. Sad but true.
President Zaddy, how you doing, man?
Yep, Sushi the Adventure Dragon.
Boy, this downloading is taking forever tonight. Holy cow, you'd swear I'm sending over WAV files and not MP3s.
I think we're having some interference from the sun. There's been some solar bursts coming out from the sun that are whacking Earth at present, and the internet has been shitty and unreliable all day long. Same thing when I went to have my bike tire fixed. Their internet system went down, and they had to reboot it. And I had problems with it before that earlier today, so it does not surprise me.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
And our shields are, Earth shields are a lot lower than they used to be. Something that, a pulse from the sun that would have whacked us 50 years ago, they wouldn't even feel, is going to cause big problems right now because we don't have as much of a magnetic shield up there protecting us as we used to.
Well, I blame I don't know who I blame. I'm not blaming it.
Peter says he's in the wilds of northwest Canada. So, like Peter, you're near SOR headquarters?
Yeah, where are you, Peter?
Yeah, I think Bomber's right. That's the first thing the first stop on everything. The buck stops there. Blame him.
Trudeau?
Yep.
Yep. Oh, Peter's in Terrace. He's north of me by a few hours.
Oh, that's way up there.
Way up there. He's in that 15 to 17 foot Sasquatch area.
Yeah. Thank God he's not further north up there in the Yukon where they had the 20-foot Sasquatch area.
God, I'm going to the Yukon in November.
Yeah, I know. National Lampoon's SOR Vacation, remember?
I've never been up there.
Well, considering what a cryptid magnet you are, I have no doubt you'll see something while you're up there.
Well, I'm sure it'll be giant moose and probably grizzly bears and a bumblefoot.
And a bumblefoot.
Oh, yeah. Go to bed, Duke.
Yeah, I actually need to eat some food, and then I got to find the channel logo for my upcoming guest on Sunday, Mr. Bill Madden.
Very
Yes,
nice.
Very, very hilarious. If you haven't seen his channel, check it out sometime. It's really cool. He looks like
Very
a
nice.
hard-bitten private detective that's running a whole private eye agency.
Oh, nice. Hello.
But he's totally not. A few years ago, he had a little different format, and he'd just stand there real deadpan on camera and narrate. And he had like a black tuxedo, so he looked like a Man in Black kind of character. And you're like, what the hell's up with this guy? He's creepy. Yeah, it was just a character that he was doing. But anyway, love y'all. See you guys soon. See you on my show tomorrow at 8. See some amazing Sasquatch tracks, 22-inch long Sasquatch tracks in Alaska. And then
That's
I'll
right.
see you over at my show this weekend.
You.
Yep, you don't want to miss that one. 22-inch tracks.
Hey Google, move this.
Yep. Hear you. I hear you, brother. Have a good night. How y'all doing? I'm going to be sitting here for a bit. The downloading is going a little slower than I thought. For some reason, oh yeah, that's because I got that going. There we go. Why is this taking forever? Forever and ever. Weird. Just weird. Weird, weird, weird. No, President Zaddy. Because I'd probably go ping, ping. Good night, Lunar Sparkles. And we can start the final one now. Hide that. There we go. All right, people. I'm going to say goodnight to all of you tomorrow night on the show. Our Keith Andrews is back with the ET Connection. We're going to all go ride the Woo Trade with him, and it's going to be a fun time. Thank you tonight to Simon, Lala, NoCal, Courtney, Asteroid, Bob, Grant, and Linda for the amazing super chats. I very much appreciate it. And we'll see you all tomorrow night. Our Keith Andrews, once again.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.